Ain't it foggy outside? All the planes have been grounded. Ain't the fire inside? Let's all go stand around it. Funny, I've been there, and you've been here. We ain't had no time to drink that beer.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sandman podcast. I am your host, Brian W. Tosh, joined as always by our resident hack checker, Oliver Fullington.
Yo.
Our producer and co-host, El Hilo del Hack, Tyler Fullington. And the man whose stories got stories, the hardcore icon. He's got 99 problems, but bananas ain't one. The Sandman. Hack, how the hell's it going today?
I'm not happy today. There's no more baseball left.
Yeah, last night.
What a game, though. Wow, what a fifth inning for the Yankees, just blowing it with 3 errors.
Judge with an error, fielding error.
Oh, like the shortstop with the throwing error, the pitcher not covering first base.
The pitcher not covering first base,
Cool.
And then you're just giving up 2 more runs at
They shot themselves in the foot.
I can't imagine how that dude feels after that.
Yeah, I mean, Judge, first of all, too, he did not have a really great playoffs. He didn't have a good World Series besides Game 4, and then he had the errors, yesterday. So, he did also have the big catch that he had as well. But
He had a big catch, he had a double, but him more time.
Well,
Their big guns didn't have it.
He had a homer last night, too. So, in the first inning, so everybody was like, here we go.
And I had it for 2 homers, too. I wanted to see that. Then he ropes that double, and I'm like, Christ.
as far as I'm concerned, though, this was an all-heel program in the World Series. There was no...
You're hilarious.
There was no babyface in this World Series for me.
I wasn't actively rooting for the Yankees, but I kind of preferred the Yankees to win over the Dodgers, just because Dodgers are NL, they're more so our rival, so...
Yeah.
I don't like the Yankees, but I would have rather had them just because Dodgers are NL.
All right, so check this out. So I thought, all right, give me a second to get this full circle. I feel a little bit better about the Phillies situation. For one, just because if you got to remember, the Dodgers have been in this situation also that the Phillies have been in and come up short. Came up short 2 years in a row. They might have won in 20 or whatever.
They had the pandemic year World Series, which was a weird season.
Yeah, and then the Yankees, freaking their bats just going quiet in a series. That makes me feel a little bit better about how the guys were nonchalant in the Phillies locker room after we lost. When they're just like, we're not hitting, you know? It's so freaking hard to win a World Series.
It is.
And we don't get it. You know what I mean? But you think these guys are making so much money, but they were just being honest. Saying, dude, if it's your time, it's your time. If you're not seeing the ball good, you're not seeing the ball good. It just happens to happen with the Phillies that 5 guys don't see the ball good once playoffs start.
Well, and it just sucked because it was 2 years in a row for the same exact way that we went down.
True.
And the way baseball is right now with the pitching, I mean, the Dodgers were down Glass now. They were down...
Kershaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kershaw wasn't a huge part of it, but...
He didn't even pitch.
But they were down Glass now, and they were throwing bullpen games every 4th game. But
I know.
But that's the way MLB is right now. There's just flamethrowers coming out of the bullpen, and our bullpen shit the bed, along with our hitting shit the bed at the same exact time. So it just wasn't a good recipe. But
Yeah, well, I mean, let's hope they spend the money and bring in Soto. Let's just give them the black check.
The Yankees lost for that reason.
Yeah, let's give them a blank check. It's not
Soto
my
to
money.
possibly leave.
did you hear what he said after when they interviewed him in the locker room? They were like, "Oh, so the Yankees, this is your first year. You're going to be a free agent, this, that, and the other." And he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to I'm open to all 30 teams, whatever." Basically saying, highest bidder, come get me.
Well, he's a
Yeah, but there's
guy.
no good because a lot of people don't. Dude, that dude's been in the freaking league since he's 17, and the dude's like 27.
Yeah.
He's 26.
Is
yeah.
my, he just turned 26.
Yeah, that dude's been in the
A couple
league
of
for
days ago.
10 freaking years.
Yeah.
He's got a World Series. He's played with Harper, played with Turner, played with Schwarber. He's got
Got the same
He's got
age.
Got the same agent. The agent is the thing.
I know, but I can't.
It also helps that he's played with all three of the guys that are on our team before.
Yeah, and probably has a rapport with them, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe he's thinking they're chokers.
Oh, bababy hack. Yeah.
You know,
These
you know
are chokers.
Yeah.
what? And the Dodgers all were until this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you think about it,
They actually even did it worse than us because I think they had the best record in baseball like 2 or 3 years.
well, yeah, they did. And Kershaw will go out and lose the first game for him every
Yeah.
World
And,
Series,
and
dude.
they didn't even make it to the championship series. The
Back to
first
Soto,
place.
though, there's only a couple teams that can actually even afford him, and we are one of those teams. So, I mean, we're in
Wait
the
a minute.
mix.
Can anybody that owns a baseball team who's basically should be a billionaire, there should not be 100 millionaire that owns a baseball team.
Agreed.
All those guys should be able to freaking sign him.
I'm with you, Hack. With these
under the,
guys don't want
under
to.
the salary
These
cap,
guys, no,
yes.
there's no cap, but what they choose to do with their money is different. And we know historically the patterns of a lot of these owners. You know, the A's are not going to be in the market for Soto. It's-
See, now to me, if it was a 1 year removed, you know what I mean? When they're getting closer to being in Vegas, that's the guy you want to hire.
Yes.
You know what I'm
'Cause
saying?
You want to open up with a bang.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But they're still a year or so removed from Vegas,
No,
right?
they're 2 or 3 years removed from
Right.
Vegas.
So it's a little early for them.
It's like when the Phillies reopened Citizens Bank. I mean, they had Tomei in there the year
Tomei,
before.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You start spending money when you know the money's going to come in with all the other things. You
And
know, the
there's-
stadium or the TV deals in a bigger market. You know,
And
that's the
there's
other
no
thing that
s-
drives
And
it.
there's no salary cap, but there is a luxury tax. So like,
Which is you pay $1 for $1.
what so like
That's what
not,
it is.
Not many organizations are willing to pay that luxury tax. Like we can afford that luxury tax. The Yankees can afford that luxury tax. The Mets, the Dodgers, probably San Francisco,
Chicago.
But other than that, there's only going to be a handful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. So what? Let's do it over on. If I said his contract's going to be over $675 million.
Under. Yeah.
Ty? The dude's numbers are ridiculous. He's got a 420 lifetime on base percentage.
I would say over
I
just
think-
because of his age.
Yes.
I say under. The only reason is I believe Otani got 700 mil.
8, almost 8.
No, I think it was 700.
8.
Was it 8?
Yeah, he's going to own the part of that team by the time that contract
Well, all
rolls
that
out.
money's deferred. It's
No,
like
it
a
was.
Bobby Bonilla contract.
I just looked up. It was 10 years 700. So
I thought it was 8 something.
10 700 was the deal. So
And he's only taking what?
He's only making like 1.5.
but you're also
Yeah, that's true.
you're also paying for hypothetically starting next year a pitcher as well with that player. So I think that contract's going to be worth more than whatever Soto would be. I
But
would say
Otani's also what, like 30?
he's 30 something. Yeah, 30.
30. I'm just saying, I think it's going to be over that because, see, now I don't know. Boris is smart. He gave Bryce that, 12-year deal or whatever. I don't know if he's going to want to go that long with Soto because Bryce has no out in his contract. And Bryce is immediately regretting it because he's only making like $25 a year.
I know. Didn't he ask for a kick on
did.
Bryce's salary in the
So-
beginning of the
and
season?
I think because Soto's so young, he's probably not going to go the 10-year whatever. He's
Why
gonna
you think he
wanna-
wants to work to that next contract
Yes.
after
Because
that?
he's,
that's the big one.
only 26.
I mean, is it?
Yes,
Is it-
because salaries keep
Well,
going up.
Yeah, I know, but salaries keep going up, but baseball keeps getting watched less.
Yeah, but there's also the regional networks and the popularity in the individual cities that baseball has a foothold in. Look at the cities that baseball is arguably one of, if not the second most popular team in. New York, one of the largest
Okay,
cities
New
in the
York, L.A.
Chicago.
You got 2 teams in Chicago.
But the Cubs are the team. Philadelphia, the Phillies are huge. I mean, you have footholds in a ton of strong markets. And regionally, a lot of people probably tune out of baseball when their team's not involved. but regionally, people love their
I
teams.
know, but look at attendance. You see, just watch ESPN highlights of any given night in July, August. Stadiums are empty. They're freaking not even half full, probably.
Yeah.
But I would say half of them aren't even half full. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude, baseball is taking too long. They never can fix that. They can't get the game shorter no matter what the hell they do.
No,
You know
we
what I
are
mean?
we are in
that's
the
helped.
we are in the day and age where people's attention spans are, instant. You got to be instant
I need a
gratification.
little bit more excitement, but dude, people that are going to baseball games is decreasing every year. Fact.
I would love to take a look into those numbers and see the
Not for the
attendance on them.
Phillies market, baby.
Yeah, we
That's
love
why we
packing
can afford them.
Yeah, we love packing it.
Yeah, well, look how many people are going to Marlins games.
Yeah,
Look how many people are going to the A's games.
Yeah, why do you think they trade all their? Why do you think they trade all their players away?
The Marlins have never
specific
drew.
number.
I know. I've been there when there's been
They-
like 2,000 people in the
They
stadium. It was
never
great.
drew, even when they were in like Joe Robbie Stadium and they were winning the World Series, and then they sell
That's
their
true.
team and
Tampa, same
Tampa.
thing.
They never
They'd be in the World Series. You couldn't even sell out the stadium in St.
Right.
Petersburg.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're getting a new one, I think.
Yeah.
Well, because of the hurricane, yeah. I mean, they're going to have to.
Yeah,
got some
tore the roof
serious repairs there.
No, but they were getting one anyway.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought they were
getting
doing
one
it.
anyway. But they were making it smaller capacity.
Yeah.
They were only making it like 30,000 or something.
That's
like
what
that,
they
which is
need
smart.
to do. They're making it intimate.
Yeah.
Get some nice
Smart.
upscale freaking food that can be brought out to the people. Like, did you see the food that the Yankees people are eating in the background?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, they got like freaking
like
nice
prime rib.
Chinese food.
Yeah.
Freaking, it's crazy.
It's
No,
not
if
hot
you-
dogs
if you-
and popcorn.
Right.
It's
If you
a
saw the
lot.
pictures, if you saw the pictures for like the blueprints and stuff for the new Tampa Stadium, it's small, it's intimate, it's like 30,000, which is perfect for
Oh,
them.
yeah.
But they got all the bells and whistles in the stadium,
Everything.
like big
And the
screen,
sight lines are
like
probably all
yeah.
awesome if it's 30,000. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
if you guys ever go to a minor league game and you just like it's a different environment. It's like,
Dude, 30 G's, there might not even be people out in the outfield.
Dude, and we've been to
Yeah.
Trump.
It might be.
I know,
It
and
might be
we
the
just
you.
went to Tropicana, and that wasn't a bad seat in that place.
yeah.
Yeah, it honestly wasn't as bad as people thought. I'm like, dude, how do people not go? But it's on
I
an
was there a
island.
couple times.
It's
Yeah.
in St. Petersburg with an island, and there's
It's in the middle of nowhere.
what's it, John Boys?
Good night, John Boys.
Good night, John Boys. Love that place. in
Yeah,
St.
shout out
Petersburg.
Tampa. Good night, John Boys.
If you're
baby.
ever in St. Petersburg, go to Good Night John Boys. That place is a hell of a
All right,
time.
John boys.
Hey, John Boys, if you heard this, you could pay us to say this every show. Just say.
Switching gears here, guys. The Eagles this past weekend took care of business on the road in Cincinnati. It was really, I mean, I was impressed with that game.
Dude, it's been a while since we've had a win. We're like, man, that felt good.
It felt good. It was fun to watch the Eagles for a week.
They didn't have their best receiver.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
They,
Chase,
they were, yeah,
Whatever.
they're missing their other receiver.
And they
but-
never went, dude. And we
You're such a
never
hater.
beaten them in Cincinnati. You know, dude. I don't believe in this team yet at all.
Okay.
I'm still down on this team even after the last couple
Okay,
weeks.
it was
I
just
really
a fun
Listen,
game of
I'm not
football to
running a
watch.
ticker tape parade for them, but listen, yeah, we beat
things are looking better.
we beat the Giants by like 25 points, but that was the Giants, and I expected.
And I thought we beat them by 5 points.
That was Cleveland.
Yeah.
21-16 or something. Was that?
Yeah, that was a Cleveland score.
28-3, I think. That was, but this was. The team is lackluster. Their offensive line isn't that great. Their defense isn't that great. But they still got Joe Burrow, who's a top 5 quarterback in the league. And yes, he's down T. Higgins, but he still had Jamar Chase. So what they were able to do, beat that team by 20-plus points in Cincinnati. Second game on the road, beating a team 20-plus points. I got to give them their credit. It was nice to finally see a good... I mean, the first half was 10-10, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Dude, that first drive, that first 9-minute drive, 15, 16, 17 plays by them, I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Well, that's what I liked about the game, Hack, is that they took a punch in the chin and took it and actually rebounded.
And scored on our first drive, even though it wasn't the
it
first
was in the
quarter.
second quarter, and we should
Well,
have
yeah,
had a
'cause they
touchdown.
wasted
I
like
know, we
12
literally
minutes
didn't
on
have we didn't have a chance to even put up points in the first
No,
quarter.
we didn't.
So it's like, what? Just another week of
Yep.
like, here we go again. We did, but
But the offense looked way more fluid
Oh yeah,
and everything like that.
Hurts look great. I mean,
Yeah.
those throws the throws down the middle of the field. Finally, I mean,
Under center.
yeah.
Under center. And I heard today from
I've been preaching that for 5 years.
I heard today from one of the guys that's on the sports talk, one of the experts. It might even been, was it Baldy or Jaworski, whatever. Fuck! I lost my point.
You lost it. No, okay. Just see if it's simmering around there. Can we get it back? No.
It's just Jalen being on time with the ball. You know, he's taking his one step. He was throwing a lot of shit on time. He wasn't holding the ball. He wasn't trying to escape the pocket, stuff like that.
Dude, he had a shitload of time back there
did.
constantly.
With a backup left tackle and a backup right guard.
Well,
Shout out
and
to
he
Jeff
didn't
Stoutland.
jump out of the thing, you know what I mean? He hung in there, made some throws, you know what I'm saying? But it was a pretty easy day, dude.
And I love the way Saquon ran the ball too. Saquon is just awesome to watch, and especially when you get a lead late in the game, running the ball in the third and fourth quarter wins you football games, and it's great to see.
And I love, dude, shout out to Jeff Stoutland, the O-line coach. How many times do you see a team lose one offensive line and it's in complete shambles? Like, we have 2 backups coming in, and it goes
You wouldn't
without a
even
hitch.
know.
Yeah, it goes without a hitch. Like, I don't understand why teams are not drafting offensive line. Like,
Best investment you can make.
seriously, I don't care if you got the best quarterback. You can't keep him upright. You can't block for a running back. You're done either way. So
No, you're right. So I mean, we'll see this weekend. We got Dougie P and the Jags. They're a little struggling, and Dougie's.
They say he hasn't lost that locker room, though. Let's do another guy that covers Jacksonville that works for, like, WIP or whatever, and they said he hasn't lost the locker room. The 2 wins in a row, I'm sure, helped.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just Trevor Lawrence is not really like developed yet, and I don't know if he's ever going to at this point. When you're looking at the amount of time that he's had and the amount of starts that he's had in the
And
league.
especially since Dougie P's a pretty good quarterbacks coach, too.
Yeah, so like it's something's not right there still in Jacksonville. So we'll see. I think the Eagles should win this weekend, but who knows? It's the NFL. So
recipe for a trap game.
oh man, you said it.
I don't. No, there's no
That's-
way we can let that happen.
We can't. But I mean, you're.
Dallas the week after. You're
Yeah,
looking
Ty.
ahead. I don't
Yeah, Ty. I could see it. I don't know.
All right, Dallas ain't the juggernaut that it always was.
But it's still, you're looking at that game in the schedule, in the locker room and everything.
Right,
I know what you're saying,
100%.
Tom. That's the one. Before we get into our topic this week, I do have to say, guys, this past week, last week, we were down at Suplex with Joey Janela. What a great time we had there. Hack, you got the Pendo stick gift from Mike.
Greatest gift ever.
So Mike, when I got there, Mike was like, I got a gift for Hack, man. I can't wait to give it. I said, hold up. Give that to him on air. Don't show him until we get the show rolling. Hack, your
Hey, don't
reaction.
ever do that again in case the gift is the shit.
No, I want you to
Because
shit
I
on
don't
it.
know how much I have to put shit over. You know what I mean? But you
You
don't.
don't have to put it
No,
on
you
there,
give your
dude.
honest reaction.
Yeah, no, but I don't want to. I like that guy. I like all those guys down
Oh,
there.
dude, they were
Heck,
awesome.
you've never been one to shy away from tell someone that's the shit.
Yes.
Okay?
I guess I don't.
Listen, and they all still love you no matter what. They know you're going to give the honest opinion. So.
What wasn't the shits, though, was our show, and shouts out to Joey Janela. Joey was so awesome to have on. His perspective on ECW and the current business, and some of his stories were great to hear, too. So
Best thing he ever said was, "Everybody in the business is now a midget."
he's not that big of a guy himself.
I
either.
know.
But I mean, it's just the truth of it. If
How
you
much
look at-
did you pay him to say that?
Dude, it took me $60. I tried 40, and he's like, "Okay, you like a little bit."
That's
more.
it, Joey? $60?
Come
My
on.
pocket, I could have got you a little
Come
bit
on,
more
bad
than
boy.
that.
Joey, shouts out, man. You were awesome on the
Yeah,
show.
that was
and-
great listening to, like,
Yeah,
perspective.
and I didn't realize, because you guys know going into it, I didn't really know a lot about him, but I loved the story about when he's working with Omega, and he's like, we got 10 minutes. He's like, oh, good. And then Omega's like, wait, hold on for a second. He goes, yeah, we can do 45. And he's like, oh, shit. I'm going to do 45 with Kenny in it. And then he was honest, and he goes like, well, how about 30?
It's really cool, man.
Yeah.
The stories of the
Loved
show were
it.
great. We had such a great time. Shouts out to Mike, Roman, who put a lot of stuff together for us there. J.A. and GZ there that were down for Suplex. And J.A. Hack, you were ripping on him for his folder of notes and everything, too. That was
Yeah,
really
you had
funny.
30 matches on the list.
He had so many lists. He had every match named. It was,
I know, but I liked his preparation.
yeah, he was
Yeah,
prepared.
you have to respect it.
He completed the assignment.
Yeah, he had to renew his library card so he could bring out his so we could print out all the Terry Funk folder and everything that he had going there. But no, those guys are always an awesome time, and we appreciate always going there and doing stuff with
Parking
them.
sucks.
And parking sucks. You don't drive any. And I'm a parallel parking wizard, as it is One Shot Ty, they called me.
That's what the girls called you.
I got nothing.
He got you on that one. There we go.
Yield?
I got
Say I
nothing.
yield.
Nope.
No, he's not yielding. No.
Off with your head.
We need it.
I gave you enough on that.
We need a
That's
yield.
what she said.
Yeah,
What?
there you go. No, it was a great show. You guys got to let us know of your favorite ECW matches. Check the show out on YouTube, on all the platforms that we have it out on as well. And again, shouts out to Suplex and Joey Janela. Hack, the show this week that we reviewed, Halloween Havoc 1989. It is Halloween when we were recording this year. And the reason we picked this show specifically, too, Hack, you went to this show with your boy Rube. So I know you guys attended a lot of wrestling, and there's a pretty famous picture of you out in the crowd in Sting makeup, face paint in the crowd for this show.
Just had Ty a month earlier.
And he's at
Yeah, what were you doing at the show?
Did I?
I'm about a month.
It's October 1989. Ty's September 89.
You have a 1 month old, and you're in a crowd at a wrestling
Dressed as
pay-per-view.
Sting.
with a face paint.
I don't know. What's wrong with that?
No, I mean, you
Sounds like I brought the kid freaking with me.
You did not bring the kid, but I mean, rocking the face paint too. I mean,
No, that was cool.
Hack? Talk to me about.
All right, hold on. Tell me between you three. This is my one little nugget I got for you guys.
All right.
Who the hell else was in the front row? Obvious as shit. ECW people.
Obvious as shit, ECW people.
Obvious as shit. But see,
Hat Guy?
I never watched.
Was Hat Guy in it? Front row?
Is Hat Guy the Hawaiian shirt guy?
Yes. Okay, I thought
He
that.
is. He got a quick camera angle, but the other two were in the front row. Hard camera.
Front row ECW fans. Interesting.
Not fans. I didn't say they were fans. They're
Oh.
ECW people.
Oh, is it Meanie?
No.
No?
Bubba?
89.
Oh, you guys are on the wrong track. You never get it.
okay.
Bob and Lex Ortiz
Really?
are sitting in the front. Dude, I'm like writing notes, and
I would've
look,
never
and I
got
look
that.
up, and I was like, was that Bob Ortiz? And then I finished my note, and then I went back. Yeah, it's Bob's in the green shirt. Where Nancy's very close to Nancy, where you know where she was the whole that whole
The team
match.
match, yeah.
Yeah, right where Nancy was hanging out. Bob was in the green and Lex was in the red.
All right, well, I'm going to have to go back on and put
And
up
Jay
on social.
Sully was in the audience too.
Who?
I think Jay Sully, one of the first announcers.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with Jay Sully.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I texted Todd, and I think I'm going to call him because it was too much to text. He goes, dude, I think I was there too. And I'm like, get out of here. He goes, yeah, because he was part of Joel Goodhart's like wrestling club. You know what I mean? But and when I don't know when they came out with he might have been at the 92 one instead of the 89 or the 91 one. Or whatever, but I can't believe you guys didn't notice Bob.
No.
He had tons of camera time.
I
Man.
was too busy watching the great wrestling go on.
No, listen, when you go back and watch these old shows, you got to watch it for the time that it was in and everything. And Hack, you made a point of the vanilla midgets and the midgets in the business today. Well, there wasn't a lot of midgets on this show. Oh my God.
Everybody's cut, ripped, chiseled, and jacked.
I can understand why
Jesus.
when you're watching this wrestling or WWF, when you went to the Spectrum shows, when you were like, man, I could never do that. But then when you went and saw an indie and saw the guys there,
I'm
you're
like, here's my money.
yeah, but
I'm good.
It's a little different when you're looking at Dan Spivey and Sid walk out there. You're like, I don't think I,
I
could
know,
do that.
Luger and Sting, and just even the shorter guys like Brian Pillman were still jacked.
Oh, yeah.
Was Spivey Glacier?
No, Spivey was Waylon Mercy. If you remember, Waylon Mercy was a mid-'90s WWF character that actually Bray Wyatt got a lot of
Yes.
inspiration from.
He looked like
say
the
that.
dude Glacier from.
Glacier is another wrestler, Ray Lloyd.
So, I mean, super stiff. Not stiff as in stiff, like hurt you stiff. Stiff as in cannot work his way out of a paper bag. A wet one.
Let's get to the show.
Yeah, Glacier, sorry.
Sorry, Glacier. Hack didn't mean to bury you. The show was on October 28th out of the Philadelphia Civic Center. So, Hack, was there a lot of shows at the Civic Center at this point in time?
I don't remember. That one that I was to, and then Joel Goodhart worked there after that, and I did a First Blood Battle Royal or something like. I did a Battle Royal. And I think the first time me and Sabu touched.
Oh wow!
So Goodhart actually had a show there too.
At the Civic Center. I wonder how it drew back then.
Not great.
Yeah, I could have. Yeah,
Maybe
it's
5,000.
Pretty big venue.
Yeah, but a
Civic
lot
Center.
cheaper than the freaking Spectrum or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Where was the Civic Center at?
I was downtown. I can't remember the exact location of the Civic Center hack. This
I'm
is
trying. Yeah,
this
I
is
can't
for you.
remember either.
No, nothing.
Yeah, but what was I going to say?
Civic Center.
Yeah. So, but Goodhart had that show, dude. Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. on WIP. There was a professional wrestling show every Saturday morning. So that's where he grew his business from.
What, before Don McKee?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I never remember hearing that before my time.
Like 1989. I'm listening to it. So
Wow, that's interesting. They did draw a pretty big crowd here. They had 7,000 people in the house.
that's at
and
5.
You were one of them. You and Rube were two of them. So, you remember anything about tailgating for the show, or why you wanted to go to the show, anything like that, or just wrestling was in town?
Dude,
I was going.
Dude, that's what just me and Rubes did.
Wrestling was in town. We're going.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. The show got started off with the Z-Man, Tom Zank. Zank taking on Mike Rotunda. Mike Rotunda, obviously father of Bray Wyatt, IRS in the business, and he was coming off his Varsity Club run here. That's why he was rocking that singlet.
Like, dude, get a new gimmick or
Yeah,
something.
the stable's been disbanded for a while.
Damn,
and-
I didn't even put 2 and 2 together that's Bray Wyatt's dad.
yeah, that's Bray Wyatt's father in the business. I mean, he was.
I didn't either until he said it. I don't know shit.
Yeah,
You guys know that.
I know, but I expect you not to know that. But
I mean, look, he's a pretty good worker himself, and Tom Zank was somebody that was working
Rotunda made the whole match.
Rotunda did make this match. Tom Zank didn't really bring a whole lot to the table. Obviously, you could tell he was the guy that they were like pushing at the time and that they wanted to run with, but. And just, a lot of the stuff in the match. I mean, it's a 1989
Dude, it's a
opener.
typical freaking
It was
match.
1989, and actually Rotunda did great heel work the entire match.
He did.
Actually had the crowd very much into it. Looking back on it now, for a 1989 match, that was your typical he
like
made
Wrestling
that
101 match.
Yeah,
Yes,
he made
absolutely.
the
Baby
entire-
heel 101.
And an opener, too.
Yeah.
You don't
Right.
do too much, but you don't do nothing.
One thing, and we'll talk about this later in the Dynamic Dudes match, but I think that Rotunda realized right away that he had to be the heel. That's why he was doing the powdering, because I honestly think he could have taken over the babyface situation in the match, but he didn't want it that way.
I totally agree, Hack, and that's one of the things I wanted to call out about this show, too. It's like the Philadelphia crowd here kind of being a smarter crowd, kind of being a little bit bloodthirsty, and we're Philly, right? Certain guys are not going to get over in front of a Philly crowd, and you saw it on this show.
Yeah, Shane, you bitch.
The dudes and Tom Zank, the Z-Man, Philly crowds are going to shit on that to an extent.
No, but Rotunda got Z-Man over.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
That's his job,
right,
dude. That's
yeah,
why he's so good.
He went against the tide to make it work, and that was really good work by Mike Rotunda in this match.
I know. I actually enjoyed watching this match for how late it was and how basic it was, because it's just Wrestling 101.
Yeah.
And if you do it right, you can still get everybody's reaction.
That could be every opening match in the 500 different indie shows that are going on right now. On Friday night or Saturday night in the United States, and yes, there's almost that many. So yeah, that's an opening match for anywhere, anytime.
Right,
Yeah.
just because he did such heel work that he made the crowd hate him so much that the match got over, even though they didn't do anything.
Yeah. The finish was Tom Zank did a comeback. He rolled through a crossbody out of the corner
Which I actually liked.
and then got a pin on it.
Dude, that was so fucking rude. That was the typical. But usually, if that was going to happen, they would put a heel over like that a lot of times. You know what I mean? The baby face goes for the high body, and the heel fucking slips over, pulls the tights.
Yeah. I mean, it was perfectly just standard, decent wrestling. So I'm going to go 2.5 stars for the match. Ollie?
Yeah, I'm going 2.5. Just
Yeah.
right with you. I mean, I think it was a good opener, and especially for the time that we're looking at, it was a good match.
Hack?
3.
3? Ty?
3.5.
3.5. Okay. Up next on the show, this was awesome.
But
what?
Are you going to the Bruno? Are you going to talk about Bruno?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you get Bruno Sammartino backstage, and Bruno is the referee of this Thunderdome cage match.
Did you see his forehead?
Oh my God! The
I
gig
was like,
marks.
what?
The gig
No, he
marks
had
on his
this
head.
big ass fat thing on the one freak on his over his left eye.
Dude, I think those were gig marks. His forehead was all,
yeah, they were- yeah,
all
all those
gigged up, and he's got amazing cauliflower ear.
Oh, dude.
Like crazy.
Headlocks were headlocks back in the days.
Yeah, like oh my God.
All those guys had him.
And at this point in time, so this is 1989, Bruno Sammartino had a soured relationship with WWF and Vince. They stopped pushing his son, and I think he had a little resentment about some things with his son being in the business there. And he kind of was on the outs and didn't go back to WWF for decades. Not until
But he carried the company through the 60s.
through the 60s and 70s.
Early, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
he literally did.
he was the backbone of Vince
He was
Senior's
champ for like
business.
9 years or something.
And he meant something in the Northeast, Bruno Sammartino, especially in New York and Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. And
Just like they didn't like Tommy, like Tommy Rich. Tommy Rich was way more over in the South than he was up here.
A
It
god.
was very blatant.
yeah, but Bruno bringing him in as the referee here was certainly interesting. It was cool to have him as a little interview there.
He seemed lost the whole match anyway.
He did.
I mean,
We'll
you
get to
gotta
that.
be lost. You know,
It's a
dude,
weird-
you got Funk in there. I'm lost.
Yeah,
I'm on his team and I'm lost.
We'll
if
get
I'm
to
in there
that
with
later,
Funk.
Hack, but I agree. The next match on the show was the Midnight Express and Dr. Death Steve Williams taking on the Samoan SWAT team and the Samoan Savage. Man, so it's a little interesting for me to see Jim Cornette work as a babyface manager, which they were doing in this with the Midnights here. And man, it was just awesome. I love this match. It was such smart, again, similar to the opener, smart, basic formula wrestling. And the crowd was all into this. They all were giving appropriate reactions to the guys in the ring. Dr. Death was put over big time in this match.
Dude,
I mean,
he was on fire.
He
The
was-
crowd was on fire.
The
Dr.
Samoans
Death.
put him over like he was Zeus himself.
the Samoans were
They
awesome.
bumped their asses off that whole damn match,
Yeah.
dude. They were just bumping and bumping and bumping. Dude.
So do you guys know who the Samoans were in this match?
Oh,
on the
dude, we were talking
Yeah, we
about
were
it.
talking
we're trying
about
to
it.
figure
So
out
one
who the hell
of
was
them's
who.
Rikishi.
Rikishi's part of the Samoan SWAT team, yes.
Yeah.
And the other one is
Samu.
Samu, who is father of man, who was he?
See, we were worried. We don't. Dude,
I know,
there's so many Samoans.
we were
They don't
halfway-
even know their whole tree.
We
Now,
were
the other-
halfway down the family tree trying to figure it
The
out.
other one, the Samoan Savage, was the Tongan Kid, and
Okay, that makes
he's
sense.
he's the father of Jacob Fatu.
Okay.
Now, so you have all these guys.
So who did the Tonka Kid turn into?
He was the Tongan Kid.
Well, I know, but was there something else?
I don't think he was anyone. He was the Samoan
Was
Savage
Rikishi
here.
one of them?
Yes, Fatu was Rikishi Fatu.
Okay.
So Rikishi's in this match. He's a young Rikishi, and man, the work in this match, I really, really enjoyed this match. I thought it was awesome. I thought that everybody played their role perfectly in there, and it was
Bobby bumped his ass off.
Yeah, he did.
Bobby bumps his ass off, and Bobby's got hack. I mean, we talked about it before when he made his like little one-off run-in for ECW. That right hand he's got, man, one of the
Dude,
best.
you had to be able to throw a punch back in them days. You just had to.
That was one thing I noticed on the show in general too. Everybody's throwing really good
Great
punches, just right on the money. And Bobby,
Even Luger.
even Luger. This we'll get to Luger in a minute, man.
I
but
don't even want to get into that.
Stan Lane was awesome. Everybody in this match was great. I really, really
Except the
enjoyed it.
ending.
Well,
Dude, the icing on the cake with this match was the finish.
you liked the ending.
Dude, the finish was
I liked
in this
the
match
finish.
was perfect.
So the finish of this match is Doc's just going crazy, and then he gets a clothesline out of the corner, and then more clotheslines, and then the Samoans are out of the
He
ring.
didn't know which Samoan he was supposed to be in the ring with at that point, because you'll see right in the front the one. They switched up people. Like one of them grabs one of the Samoans. The Samoan just powders out because he knows he's not supposed to be the one that's in the ring.
Yeah.
So I think they fucking
That's a theory throughout this entire show. Is
It was
legal
hitchy.
man,
Yeah.
legal
It was
man,
hitchy.
And all that.
There was Stan Lane got pushed into Jim Cornette, and then the Samoan Savage pinned him. I mean, it was,
Yeah, and I didn't like Stan Lane selling it more than Cornette sold it.
Cornette takes like a little bump off the apron, not a big bump. He swings it. He swings
but
it.
he's up in the ring and Stan's still selling. I don't know. And then I got one more note here. I love the backstories that are being told during this.
JR was great on the show.
Yeah, with all 16 years old, his first match, this dude here, that was good shit.
Stan Lane was like a, what was he, a ninja thing or sorry, what was it? He was saying?
A taekwondo something or
karate,
something like
karate.
that. Yeah.
He put him over his karate, and he was saying how
And he just kept doing it all throughout the show, which is really cool.
yeah, that was one thing JR had as like a staple of his, was giving you the background on the guys to try to put them over as athletic competitors, giving you if they had a real sports background, whatever it was that made them a bad dude, like trying to put that over on commentary. And I think that's missed some of the time today, where commentators are more just telling me a single story.
Well, because they're doing 77 spots. You can't tell a backstory when you got to call the match.
True. I mean, you got a lot more time to do that if you're doing a rest hold or something. But I really enjoyed this match, man. I'm going to go 3.5 stars for this. I really, really liked the work in this. It was just a fun 6-man tag match. Everybody in there is awesome. Ollie?
4.
4?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going 4.5. It was pretty much the best match on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I got 4.
4. All right. Up next on the
You
show.
don't hear a lot of 4s often unless it's a Will Ospreay match.
No, I mean,
Well,
look,
I'm trying to grade on the time period of
True.
what we're looking at here.
True, absolutely, which is what you have to do. But I kind of feel like I maybe underplayed it a little bit about the 3.5, but no. Up next on the show, the Cuban Assassin taking on Tommy Rich. Tommy Rich is back in the NWA at this point. He's already been a former world champion there in the NWA. But his career kind of hit a little hiccup, and I know he had a lot of personal issues and things, and then got back in shape and got back there. The crowd here in Philadelphia, man, just immediately turns on Tommy, who's clearly the babyface. You're facing off against the Cuban Assassin in 1989. There's no, you're not sure who the face is.
The Cuban Assassin is not a babyface.
Yes, he's not a babyface.
All right, but who is he? Whose cousin is he that's a great friend of our show?
The Cuban Assassin is a great friend of our show.
Yeah.
Oh, his cousin.
No, is a cousin of one of the best friends of our show.
Is he?
Fonzie?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That is awesome. Wow, little tidbit there. Okay. That's
Fonzie!
cool. Fonzie. Shouts out to Fonzie and shouts out to the Cuban Assassin.
The Cuban, he calls him.
The Cuban.
That's what he calls him. He doesn't call. I don't even know the guy's real name because he just calls him the Cuban.
Now that you say that, I actually have heard Fonzie say, yeah,
The Cuban.
Well, he lived right in Tampa Bay too.
His name's-
You've been down to his house when you were a little kid.
His name's Fidel.
Fonzie?
No, the Cuban lived down by in Tampa Bay.
You've been down to Fidel Sierra, the Cuban Assassin's house,
I was
Ty?
at the assassin's
There-
house,
there-
man. We were kicking it, great times.
There you go. What a childhood. The Philadelphia crowd here, that's what this match is all about to me. Shitting on Tommy Rich. And there's something about like smart fans in ECW and fans in just Philadelphia in general and not accepting what you're giving us if we don't want to I can't get into this Tommy Rich babyface character, and we'll see it later on the show with the dudes too, but it's just like
Tommy knew he couldn't do anything.
Right.
He knew that you can't switch to be a heel, and the Cuban's never going to be taken as a baby. So they just work the arm, go home. And he just rolled out disgusted. I can't wait to see him and talk to him about that match. Dude, he didn't put his arms up, nothing. He just rolled right underneath the bottom rope.
So talk to me. I don't know if this has ever happened. I mean, I'm sure it probably has at some point in your career, Hack. But when you go out there and for whatever reason, whatever you're trying to execute before the match, and it just doesn't go your way.
Very, very early before I was with Nancy and stuff like that, they would yell, "You suck."
But what does that feel like as a performer when you go out there and you just miss it?
Then I want to kill him.
No,
not the people in the audience,
right?
Not the wrestler,
right? Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of like, to me, like a comedian bombing. You got to get your lumps in. You're going to have misses out there. Not everything's going to hit, but you just got to keep working at it. And obviously, Tommy Rich had a ton of success before at this point. But it's something about the Philly fans where they were just not going to accept a white bread babyface at this point. We're the city of the Broad Street Bullies.
Tommy Dreamer.
Perfect example. I mean, that happens 5 years later, but it's still the same thing where it's This crowd is not going to accept that white bread babyface.
And it's just so weird because everywhere else in the United States it was totally different.
Right?
It was just totally different.
He had girls going crazy for him.
Tommy Rich was the biggest baby face in Atlanta back then.
Yes.
TBS. He was huge.
Yeah.
He was the champion. He held the strap for a while.
Yeah. The crazy thing about watching this show, too, and I got to ask you about your perspective, it's like you're in the audience here, and then a couple years later, you get in the biz, and then years later, you're sharing a locker room with a lot of the guys and girls on this show.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about all the people that you've shared a locker room with on this show, it's pretty crazy. I mean, like, going from that side to the wrestling side, do you think it helped you being a fan?
What was the question again?
Do you think it helped you being a fan getting in the biz, like being a wrestling fan?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, but dude, I forgot half. The only thing I actually really remembered out of this was the Twin Towers coming out next to me. I had no idea they were working with the Road Warriors, and Muda blowing out the fire. Those were the only two things that I remember. Dude, this show's 45 years ago.
It's 35.
35 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not supposed to remember any of that.
No. The finish of this match.
But being with all those other guys later on in my life, like with the Samoans, and Tommy Rich, who ended up being a really good friend of mine. Good shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Coming from the guy that says, "What match are we on again?"
Yeah.
Least shocking thing ever. So I get it.
The finish of this match was Tommy hit him with a
Oh my God, the Luthez press.
Fez press for the pin for the 1, 2, 3.
And rolled right out.
Oh God!
I had never seen that before. I was like, "That's the finish." I had never seen that before. I was like, "Wait."
And he didn't even hit it great.
I was like, "Wait, that's the finish?" Like
Yeah.
that was like the I don't even know what to call it. What I would say, like you hit the ropes and
You hop on the guy and you hold him down.
yeah.
But that's the spot I called for Conan. Me and him, when he was late, didn't even talk to him before any run-ins on my match.
Yeah.
That was the spot I called for him
Fez
to get up.
Well, this match, I give it a 0-star, Ollie. I'm sorry for shitting on it. Tommy Rich is great. I love the FBI. I know what a great worker he was. There was just nothing in this match, man.
Yeah, I'll give it half a star.
There you go. You're a nice guy. Hack, 3 stars because his boy Tommy Rich is in the match. This is such a you guys stack scales the best.
I gotta go 1 star because I stayed at Tommy Rich's house for an ECW pay-per-view one time down in Savannah, Georgia.
Dude, we had 1,000 heads were delivered to Tommy because Tommy lived. We were doing the pay-per-view by the racetrack that Bubba brought the car out on the night before
I
and
think
shit.
it was in Savannah. Or
No, it was in Cobb County, Georgia.
Wherever it was, and that was the night that Al Snow, where the whole crowd had the styrofoam
man,
heads.
yes.
They were all delivered to Tommy Rich's house that weekend. We were staying at Tommy
They
Rich's house.
helped the guy unload him onto the front porch. All the kids.
And me and my sister, like, dude, my sister had this one styrofoam head that she decorated in her room for like ever, and she loved Brett Favre, so she had a cheese head. So she had a cheese head on the styrofoam head in her room for the longest time. We decorated like at least 10 of them a piece, like just color.
Just shit for the kids to do.
Like
But
just fucking around.
the
with
end
them,
of that head was probably H1. Was probably the end of that head.
Yeah, so that thing lasted all the way to probably like 2008. That styrofoam head.
Wow.
Yeah, that was in there. I mean, it was the longest head I ever had.
All right, Ty. I set him up for that, of course.
Yeah, so that was that match. That was an interesting story. Everybody got put to work within ECW. It was a real family affair.
Everybody what?
Everybody got put to work. Everybody had a different
Well,
task.
yeah, we decorated the ECW belt.
Yeah.
I don't know if we told
If Ty
that.
was
We did.
big enough, he would have been on the ring crew.
Oh, yeah. Up next on the show was...
I was the talent. I wasn't doing
Yeah, he was
all that.
talent. He
Yeah,
was
I
above
wasn't
that at that
doing all
point.
that,
Yeah, he's not schlubbing it with the
Yeah,
team
well,
tag
tell that to
guys.
Danny Doring and Chris Chetty when they were on the ring crew and talent.
Yeah, I'm way more over than both of them.
Up next on the show was the NWA World Tag Team title match between the Fabulous Freebirds and the Dynamic Dudes. So at this point, the Freebirds, this is one of the other iterations of the team. It was just Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin at this point.
I wonder where what's his name was.
I don't think he was around at that point.
Probably in Japan.
He's probably working Japan full time at this
Right.
point. But man, Michael Hayes, the thing I took away from this, Michael Hayes was only 30 years old at this point in time, which is crazy to me looking at him. He looks like he's 45.
Yeah,
like,
he
people
definitely does.
People just looked older back then, and I know he was partying hard and everything, but man,
Oh yeah.
when they came out with that Bad Street USA and they
They were
got
cool.
they got that entrance, it's like, how did you not realize who Philadelphia was going to cheer in this match? You got these two cool dudes up against the lamest tag team maybe ever in the dynamic dudes. Like they just look,
got dudes on the back of their tights.
they just look dorky. I mean, like it's like a forced dorky team. Like I get what they were
they
going.
look like Hack when he first started.
Yeah.
Well, with me, not Jack.
Well, no, I appreciate, like, one of the things I liked about this show, it's late 80s, early 90s, it's like, it's a lot more colorful than wrestling now. Everybody's got, like, colorful gear for the
Everybody's
most part.
like black, black and red.
Right. There's so much color in this show, and it's cool to see, and the dudes, you know, like...
Oh, they're double, where they both would jump up and the guy would go under. I'm like, come on, Shane, you're kidding me.
And they did.
I think I took a little video and sent it to Shane yesterday, and I'm like, seriously? He didn't even respond.
He's ashamed of his dynamic dude past.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously, he was a great worker, Shane, in his own right, and
Johnny also.
Johnny
was way more over in Japan than he ever was in the
with all
United
Japan,
States.
yeah, obviously.
He was a beast in Japan.
Yeah, he was very big time in All Japan, but the dynamic dudes didn't work, and they especially didn't work tonight because the crowd was really for the Freebirds. And you can, like, I guess it's one thing nowadays when wrestlers, the crowd, will turn against them. But man, they were really against the dudes tonight in this show. Like they just shit on them.
I don't know why they didn't flip the script.
You easily
They
could have.
still kept every spot the same. They could have flipped the script, and they could have turned into babies in the first 2 minutes of the match. Be like, yo, boys, let's flip this.
Right. I mean, when you hear a crowd reaction like that, you would think going in.
Although they would always get a crowd reaction, like just because of their entrance, but they were basically still heels once they got to the ring.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There was those kind of guys. But right away, I don't know, maybe you're not allowed to then or something like that.
Yeah, but
all of them in the ring were smart enough to know they could have flipped that thing totally.
And the Freebirds were one of those, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Hack, one of those first, like, cool heel acts.
Yes.
Where they're like, you know, it's like, they're cooler than the baby faces. Why wouldn't I cheer for these guys? You know
And
what I
with
mean?
that
Like,
hair, you people got to understand, that hair was cool back in them days.
the perm?
Yeah.
I mean, is that what it was? Like a giant permed out hair? And I mean, look, they were making songs and they were partying, and like the Freebirds were really over. Even though this wasn't like their hottest period of time, they were still super over.
Yeah, before this, they were even hotter. Late 80s.
Oh, mid 80s, and everything that they did in Texas and Georgia, they were super
It
stars.
seemed to me that Hayes was getting cheered and he was kind of feeling himself there. Maybe why they didn't switch it up on the thing, but they were kind of feeling it.
Well, they didn't have to. Yeah, but it lost me in the match once they didn't flip it. And then I was like, all right, what am I watching? It's a tag match.
Have you ever been in a match where the reaction you're not?
No, but I've seen them because I like to watch a lot of the shit, no matter where I am, even today. Yeah, I've seen it happen, and guys be smart enough to do it.
Now, if in a larger company, you obviously have your booker making the decisions and stuff. You might get a little heat if you tried to switch it, right? You're going against the grain a little bit.
Yeah, but let's see, who was was Dusty the booker for this?
Now, the booker at this point in time, I believe it was still a booking committee.
Was Kevin just out of the booking because he wasn't on the show, but he was the booker there.
Kevin was part of the booking committee. I know Cornette. I know Jim Ross. I know Flair. They had a big booking committee at this point in time.
Oh, yeah, when there was a booking committee, you could have flipped that script and had no problem because half of them would have got it totally.
Even if the dudes...
Because they're all workers.
Even if the dudes were like somebody's pet project, you know what I mean? Like you're going to...
Who cares? It's one match.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's not going to kill him, I guess. But, man, this did...
But it is a pay-per-view match, and maybe they... See, now I can kind of think what you're saying right there, too. If you're putting money into these fucking dudes, you don't want to have the script flipped on them.
Right.
But you also don't want them to have them in a headlock and fucking... Yeah. I thought they were yelling the dudes, but they were booing, boo.
Yes, they were just straight booing. I mean, they get booed out of the building here. Like I don't know. I mean, I think maybe the booking of the show, you should have kind of seen the writing on the wall for the crowd of Philadelphia. You know what kind of crowd Philadelphia is before.
But all those guys you just fucking said something to me wasn't booking up east.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's a southern booking back then more than that.
Kevin knows.
NWA, right? I mean,
Kevin knows.
would have been one of the guys. Well, it took you so long to flip the script. You know what I'm saying? Kevin would have been one of those guys.
Okay. Obviously, Michael Hayes finishes the DDT, keeps going for it in the match.
And then your dudes, you still put money into them, but they're heels.
Right? I mean, you could have pushed them as heels, as like
totally
douchebag
everywhere
dudes.
after that.
Yeah, I mean, you could have. I mean, yeah, they certainly weren't bad workers, but Shane threw both Michael Hayes and Garvin together, and then just got booed out of the building. And then he went for a double suplex. Michael Hayes then tripped up. Was it Johnny Ace? I think.
Yeah.
And then Garvin.
Yeah, he held his leg. It was the same finish to me and Shane did with Nancy for the belt when they didn't want to put me over.
And he holds the leg, falls on top of him for the pin. Pretty shit finish. Not really much to write home here, about besides the crowd work. The crowd was awesome in this, so it's kind of funny to hear him shit on the Philadelphia crowd. But as a match, I got to go like 1 star for this. Ollie.
I'm going 1.5.
Because of the crowd, it gets a 4. The crowd was the star in the match.
Were you booing this match as a fan?
Oh, I had to be. Yeah.
I can't see the dynamic dudes getting over with you, Havoc, at all.
I like the Freebirds.
Yeah.
I gave it probably about Michael Hayes' selling was awesome in this match.
Yeah, it was.
He could work back then, dude.
Like his selling was super good in this match. And I actually thought there was some decent combo offense given by
the dudes.
By the dudes. So, yeah, I'll give it a 2. Everything else was just, but with the selling alone by Michael Hayes and some combo offense, I'll give it a 2.
Yeah. Up next on the show was the Steiner brothers taking on...
Oh, Scott, how you never could cut a promo.
Man, so before this...
The difference, night and day.
Before this, they go to Steiner's promo. And one of the things I liked about this show, and I think it's missing in wrestling, is that quick hit promo before a match. That 30-second, 45-minute top promo.
On the way to the ring.
On the way to the ring. A little hype up. Just a little extra added thing to a match before a match. And I feel like it's missed today a lot in wrestling, and I kind of wish it came back a little bit.
WWE does it a couple times.
They do. They've started to do it more and more recently. But I do enjoy those. But this promo was not great by the Steiners, man. And Scotty, you could tell, was a little nervous on the mic. Nervous on the mic.
Straight stumbled twice.
Yeah. And obviously, I mean, he'd been in there, for a bit. Is there something as a performer when the pressure is on and it's a live show?
Not for me, but I've seen it for other people when they act totally different. Like the ECW's first pay-per-view, people weren't, because the locker room was a big oval kind of thing. You know what I mean? There wasn't any other rooms and shit, and you could see everybody all the time.
I mean, Tosh, you've seen it. You went to the back of the arena.
Yeah.
That's kind of pretty much how it was. It was a little bit more open, but very similar to the show that you were at.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, and you just see, people's tendencies and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And you could see, dude, I was freaking elated. I know I'm on my game right here.
Right.
You know what I mean? I couldn't wait to get the fuck in that ring.
Right. But for some people, when that camera's on, it's a little different, I
Better
guess.
believe it.
And Scott, I mean, later becoming a great promo, but not really at this point. So.
Oh my God, he turned, dude, who's your daddy? When he was the man there, those promos were great.
He was awesome. When
Papa Pump, holla if you hear me.
Papa Pump was great.
It was freaking awesome. I love it.
Steiner match?
Yeah.
Oh, and the chainmail he's got on his head is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. So Doom is made up of your boy Ron Simmons and Butch Reed.
Okay, that was Ron Simmons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the one looked like Ron Simmons.
Yeah.
Florida store.
Yeah. That's
And-
why he gets the loaded the mask at the end for the finish. But
I feel bad because neither of them could work.
this is it's a little struggle at this point in the match.
Neither of them could work. I was watching. I was like, "Is that Ron?" And I felt bad, but man, that was brutal.
I know, but all right, yes, Ron Simmons could work 10 times better than Butch Reed, and I have down here Butch Reed stunk. You know what I mean? I love the finish.
One of them was way worse than
Butch Reed, the smaller one. Ryan was fucking jacked. But see, you gotta understand something with. I wasn't so sure that match was more of a strong Japanese match between big guys than like. And I don't think Ron wanted to give anything to them. I mean, Ron will bump for him and shit like that, but you still gotta understand, dude. Ron's one of those boys like, yeah, I'm one of the toughest motherfuckers in this locker room, dude. You know what I mean? And the Steiners, if you're a great wrestler, dude, you can pretty much take down anybody. So I'm not so sure about how it was like in the back, but it was hitchy. The whole match was super hitchy to me.
It was, and you could tell. I mean, this is not peak Steiners here yet, and it's certainly not peak for Ron Simmons, either in his career. He
I never worked under a hood before, too. I can imagine working under a hood.
You never worked under a hood yet.
No.
That's got to be completely restraining.
I ain't doing it.
Steiners were peak ECW, clearly, on my fantasy team.
Jesus, here we
Talking
go.
about this. Any chance he gets to get them in. And then also Woman was managing them. So, Hack, again, another person that you interact with in your career later on, and that you're the
I
crowd.
forgot she was even there. I told you, I forgot most of these people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, man, I fucking worked with her, dude. Me and her were great together.
Yeah. It's cool stuff. The match
Her
itself.
more than anybody on that show, I felt that way.
Yeah. The match itself, I mean, not really anything special, like you said. It was pretty hitchy. Woman.
That was real hitchy.
Woman was doing some decent work as a.
I mean,
a
dude,
second.
we got Doom 1 and Doom 2.
Doom 1 and Doom 2.
So you can already tell how this match is going.
JR's like, I guess I'm going to call this guy Doom 1. Okay, Doom 1 down.
Doom later did a lot of
yeah.
really good work in WCW too. Like they had some really good matches as a tag team, some really fun stuff, and
I
obviously
hope they changed their getup.
Ron Simmons.
They were always in that black.
Ron Simmons eventually goes and wins the WCW World Title 3 years later in '92. So he had a lot of success there himself prior to his run in WWF, and obviously the Damn character later on, the work that he did with Bradshaw.
Ron, but the one of them was given like really good strikes, like headbutts.
That was Ron.
Yeah,
All
that's
of
what
it
I'm
was
saying.
Ron.
The headbutts,
No.
the punches, or whatever. But there was everything else.
The
stunk.
Steiners gave fucking Butch Reed nothing in the match.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
I noticed-
They gave him nothing.
I noticed too with Ron Simmons, I always loved his power slam, and you could see it here in this match when he hits it. He hit a great power slam, and I'm like, man, he had that even back then. Like,
Was that Scott's move too, right? Wasn't that Scott's move then?
Scott did a bunch of suplexes and stuff, and yeah, Rick would do a lot of stuff like that.
Rick was stiff as shit. In the
Oh my God, when was he not ever? I mean, seriously.
Dude, I worked with him.
The finish
Yeah, he's
is,
a crowbar.
I guess Woman is former boyfriend of Rick Steiner in storyline. So then she gets in the ring, and then she loaded up Ron's mask, and then he headbutt Rick for the win, and it was the finish there. This was, again, nothing special, nothing terrible. I'm going to go 2.5 stars for this. Ollie?
1.
1.
But think about what he just. Oh, go ahead, Ollie.
I mean,
I just like seeing big guys fight each other, too.
no,
So
like
it's-
that, and that's all great and all, but it just wasn't fluid.
Yeah. No?
Just nothing about it. It just really never came together. And I mean, how is it going to come together when you got Doom 1 and Doom 2?
Like they're the things from Dr. Seuss.
I know. It's like, come on, guys. Can we come up with...
Thing too.
We got the dynamic dudes out there. Like, we can't give something
But
like that.
I kind of
don't
like
know.
that, though. Like Pitbull 1 and Pitbull 2. I like that in wrestling. Just naming somebody something like the...
I want to just another note I had was notice the rehash of the gimmick of what happened there at the end, where she was supposed to be an old girlfriend, remind you of anything with Mommy and Dom. You know what I'm saying? It's a rehashed angle. They just up it more and more. It's been rehashed 150 times easy. But I want people to realize is they've been doing basically the same stuff forever, and it always gets over.
No idea is original. There's always a twist on something
Yep.
that's already been done. What do you give the match's star rating, Hack?
Oh, Nancy was in at a 5.
5. 5-star classic. Take that, Meltzer.
Yep.
Ty?
I give it a 0.5 just because I really liked.
You gonna just because you really liked what?
No, Scott's standing Hurricane Rana was super impressive.
Yeah, it was.
In the match,
Oh, my
so
God.
I'll give it a 0.5.
And it wasn't even a great camera angle for it.
No,
either.
it wasn't,
they
but it was
botched that.
super impressive.
Yes,
the
dude,
standing
always.
Hurricane Rana was super impressive, so that gets a 0.5 in my book.
All right, there we go.
All right.
All right. Up next on the show was Lex Luger taking on Flying Brian Pillman. So Pillman at this point is coming off a run in Cincinnati. He was on the Bengals as a special teamer, and Luger here is getting a big push with the U.S. title again, and Luger's doing a heel gimmick. This was, man, I actually really enjoyed this match. Both these guys, JR was putting over both these guys as like up and comers in the business at this point, and they were. Obviously, Luger's somebody who didn't kind of reach his potential of what you look at him and think he would be, but I enjoyed the hell out of this match. I thought Pillman bumped his ass off here. The only issue I guess I had with it is that maybe he wasn't as credible. Yeah, I wasn't ever buying him to beat Luger in his comeback, and I mean, it was a fun match and all, but I enjoyed it. I don't know. What'd you guys think of this one?
To me, it's the funny thing is Pillman. I don't think it completely displayed what. Now I don't know where this is exactly in like his career. Like Brian,
He's only been in the business like 2 or 3 years at this
okay.
point.
So I'm just saying. So maybe I'm thinking about him like later on in his career, but like it didn't like completely display like exactly the worker that he was. But I thought it was a pretty good match. And I don't know if anybody else recognized, like, I don't know.
Sure I did.
Halfway, you definitely didn't. Halfway to 3/4 through the match, Luger is, like, leaking and sweating his ass off.
Patrick Ewing in the fourth quarter level.
And I don't even think Pillman's broken a sweat,
Yeah.
like, during this match, which is actually one thing that I just
Well, Luger was
recognized.
probably gassed.
Well, yeah, he probably was gassed. But one thing I did notice is that Luger was calling a majority of the
That's
match.
what I thought you were going to say. And
okay.
not the sweat. I thought you were going to say, like, I'm like, that dude's calling shit.
Yeah, Luger was calling a majority of the match, which actually surprised me more than anything.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Hack. Doesn't historically the heel call the match in wrestling?
Yes, back in the day, yes, but and this is around the time I came in. It wasn't like that when I came in.
Okay.
But in the '60s, the heel called the match. He called your shine.
Okay.
That's it.
But then, do you think maybe he deferred to him for experience purposes? Like you?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
So you always defer? Do you automatically defer for experience purposes in the business, or like?
Well, I have if I think the idea is better.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But if I don't think it's better,
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
like
going
if
to be
you're
like,
just on the
yeah.
fly and the dude calls something, like you
Well,
don't really have an opportunity to say no. do
Well,
you?
you can grab the ropes. Here's the deal: if you can't hear a guy what the guy's spot is, and he's shooting you in, you know how everybody like Flair would start you on one side of the ring, grab you, tell you the next 3 spots that he's going to do, walk you all the way over to the other side, then shoot you back to where you started, and then you start your shit. If you don't hear it, you can always stop it. And that's why these matches are so hitchy. That's why the freaking Samoans match was so hitchy. Those back in them days, you didn't go out there. You see how it wasn't fluid.
Yeah.
These
Right,
matches
none of it.
were not
No.
fluid like you see shit today.
But I kind of like it like that.
Well, yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is, it was like, all right, let's talk about this spot. If we get it in, we get it in. This spot, if we get it in, we get it in. And the Samoans got one thing on their mind, but other times, Bobby cuts them right off and says, and he'll take over for a second, but then give it right back to you so you can do the spot that he wanted to call for you.
Wow. Okay, that's
You know what I
interesting.
mean?
Yeah.
It's a big mind game in there. That's why it's so hitchy. And nowadays, everything is like one. Like I said, 200 spots in a row is what people are doing out in the ring now. Back then, there was like 10 main spots, and you fit them in when you fit them in.
It's interesting because basically what a wrestling match is you're putting together a puzzle, but you're deciding in which order the pieces go in.
Because you're listening to the
I
audience.
was gonna say, but it all could change in an instant when you're listening to the audience, and all that goes out the window.
Yeah, I mean it's really interesting stuff there. I really
It is. That's what the art of the sport is.
Yes.
Yeah, a la Rock and Hogan.
Nowadays,
Like you go out there and you're like, oh fuck, we got to change this
Yeah.
whole thing right
Yes,
now.
exactly. Yeah, so you guys know what I'm talking
And they
about.
didn't even touch yet.
Yeah.
So today it's much more of a it's much more of a it's always a choreographed dance, but it's much more choreographed now, like everything, than it was back in the day.
The thing that I really liked about this match is at the start of it, the crowd's kind of going towards Luger, even though he's the heel. And Pillman, through his work being so good, and his comeback was strong, even though I don't think he had a lot of those maneuvers that he later had. He got the crowd behind him towards the end of the match, and even going with the size difference between the two guys, they still went with Pillman at the end, even with the finish, with Luger hits him with the, what is it called, the stun gun? He hits him with where he drops his neck on the ropes, like...
Yeah.
Which I actually really like.
That's a decent finish.
Well, he took it great.
He did take a great
yeah,
jump
it was
on it.
great looking spot,
Yeah.
like for the end.
Well, the
like,
Road Warriors took a couple good ones too, freaking. But the biggest thing about this match is, remember I've told you guys that I couldn't believe. It's like I don't even know how to feel about it, because I used to feel like Lex Luger worked with the best people always in the industry and never got any better. And now I'm even more convinced of that, because he fucking had a great match there.
Yeah.
Lex Luger, that was the best match I've ever seen from that dude.
Lex
And
is,
then he just got lazy.
well, I think part of that's laziness, complacency.
The bump over the top rope and shit like that.
Oh, he
That
was
shit
working his ass
Yeah.
off. in
Yeah,
that.
dude.
Yeah.
And
Lex-
so he just got lazy later on.
I'm telling you,
He got on the Lex bus, freaking, and then the rest of his career, he's like, I don't gotta work anymore.
If you go back and watch a lot of Lex from this time period in the early 90s, he could really
Yeah, I
go.
forgot.
And even in the mid 90s at certain points, when he had a babyface run in like 95, 96 WCW, at certain points in his career, Lex lived up to the potential. And I look at him as a guy where, if you looked at his statistics and where he came in, he's a guy who got drafted in the first round, and you were expecting a Hall of Fame career. And he didn't really have a Hall of Fame career.
Never wanted to be a wrestler.
Never wanted to be a wrestler, but certain years he had Hall of Fame level years. And in '89 he was really on, and I thought he was great in this match.
Well, I'm watching this match, and he threw great punches. He threw great kicks.
Yeah.
He worked his ass off in this match, but everything was... He wasn't fluid. Like, he was like... Wait,
he's a lumbering Big John Studd.
right. He was like super athletic.
Like a mummy.
He was super athletic, but it never looked fluid. Like, it never connected to him. It was like a...
Yeah, it's like Rock'em Sock'em Robot. Hit your foot, hit the guy in the head.
Yeah,
That's Luger.
No, but he actually threw a great punch, I thought.
He
and
did.
He threw great kicks in this match that I watched. I haven't watched a shit ton of them like throughout his whole entire career, but he looked at. But when it came to like spot doing and spot having, it was like robotic. It was like, okay, when he took a back body drop, I thought he was a mummy, like doing whatever the hell he was doing, like everything that was going into it. But other than that, like, he worked his ass off in this match.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a pretty decent match, like, considering.
Oh, the way it started, I was ready to go to bed. I was ready to fall asleep.
I mean, there was like
Powder.
Wrestle,
there
yeah.
was
Powder.
super low moments.
And I'm
in
like,
it.
this is going to be a Luger
But it
match.
really got going.
Yes, totally.
And I really enjoyed this. I'm going to go 4 stars on this match. I thought the work in here was really good. And Brian Pillman, to me, he's a guy where if he came along a little bit later in the business, if he didn't have some of the injuries that he had, and especially looking at the size of guys now, Brian Pillman would have been a top guy in today's wrestling. Absolutely. No doubt about it. He was a tremendous performer in his own right. I'm going 4 stars for it. Ollie?
3.5.
Okay. Hack? 4.
Easy.
Ty?
Easy.
I'll give it a
Only because
3.
Luger was so good.
I'll give it a 3. Just there was too many points where it was just super slow, like super slow. I thought they did some pretty good work, but
It picked up at the end.
It picked up at the end, but like there was like a nerve pinch and a work for like 20 minutes. Where I was just like, all right, guys, like come on, here we go. But all in all, like great work by Luger. I thought Pillman did, good work himself. So I'll give it a 3.
Yeah. Up next on the show, another beefy boy tag team match. The Road Warriors taking on the
think about how many
Skyscrapers.
giant dudes are just on the
oh my
show.
God.
Jesus.
Road Warrior Hulk is ginormous. Like, his chest is huge.
His traps. I mean,
are
this is
thick as like 6 inches thick.
dude.
I mean, he's never met a leg day, but
It's an upper body
Everybody used
business.
to give a shit about that.
It's an upper body business, right, Hack? I mean, yeah.
For them.
This was awesome. Okay, was this a 5-star
Strong
classic?
Japanese strong match.
Was this a 5-star
Edgy.
classic? No. Did I like the finish? No. But the Skyscrapers, I absolutely love them as a tag team.
And Teddy Long.
And Teddy Long
Dude.
walking out to the ring with
The
them.
Undertaker.
Yeah, Teddy Long with the little swagger walking
I
out to the
popped
ring.
you.
And
Because I
the
forgot.
Jerry curl.
Yeah,
Oh
the
my
Jerry
God,
curl, Teddy walking out with them, and
With that golden key.
yeah, the golden key, which plays into the finish. A golden
Yeah, what
key.
was the deal with the Golden Key?
Maybe you're unlocking the Skyscrapers. You got to get a key for the building. I don't know what the fuck the key was
So
for.
none of us know what the key thing was.
Nah, I don't know. It just was his thing.
It might
I
have
don't
been
know.
Nia Jax's chastity belt.
The funniest fucking thing you ever said. Look how big that key is.
You popped him big on that one.
Oh shit, that's funny.
That was a great joke.
Oh my god, that's some funny shit.
Ty has some
That
good
just
lines,
came to
man.
me,
He's
too.
got some.
Oh my god.
Ty's got some good one-liners that he gets in, huh? He's still laughing here. He's the Nia Jax chastity belt. I know, it's a funny line. It is. It really is.
Oh well.
Even back then in 1989, you could tell that Sid had aura. He walks out, man, and you're
Dude,
like,
my favorite part of the match is his nip up out of the head scissors.
awesome.
Dude,
Unbelievable.
super impressive.
Awesome.
Like,
Awesome
Super.
stuff.
Oh
I
my-
had to rewind. I was like, "Yo, did he just nip up
Yeah.
out of that?" And
I know,
was
like, no
I was
hand
wait,
push
what?
off either. Like,
Nothing.
straight from the shoulders.
I
Clean.
rewinded it, and I was like, "Wait, I gotta watch this again." And he straight nip up out of this headset, like super impressive.
The thing that was interesting about this match, though, was like the Road Warriors at this point have a reputation and a status. Hack, do you think that they and they're
Dude, they own the planet.
right?
They own the freaking planet, dude.
The term is Road Warrior pop, right?
Yeah.
Like when you get a Road Warrior pop
dude, I got a little fucking goosebump there.
for the Road
Dude, that
Warrior.
Road Warrior pop is unbelievable.
I mean, you could see it when they walk out. I mean, that place goes
Freaking
nuts.
Oh, in Japan, freaking, it's even more crazy.
Yeah.
It's even more crazy.
They were real special talents. Do you think at this point in 1989, where some of their popularity has maybe declined a little bit from its peak, that they might be a little hesitant to sell for a new team that might be a little bit bigger than them?
Dude, you don't have a choice if you're selling. Like I knew. I told you I was in Puerto Rico a couple times with Hawk.
Yes.
And then I was with him. He owed me $700 when he died. I was with him on like Friday. We left, and then he died on. Well, another one of those dudes died on a Monday. But I didn't work against him, I think, on that trip. But and then I knew Joe from just like locker rooms here and there, and like shows where we've been together. So me and Joe were cool too.
Joe's who?
Animal.
Yeah, he's Animal. You know what I mean? But I don't know what's going on in there. And this was hitchy, but it's supposed to be hitchy. I mean, nobody's putting. It's like nobody's pushing around anybody in that ring.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
You want me to tell you what it is? It's
Okay.
It's horribly put together because the Road Warriors.
They were babies.
No, the Road. Well, yeah, but the Road Warriors are so big, popularity-wise, and they're also playing big stature-wise, and they put them against two guys that are actually way bigger than them, and the two guys that are way bigger than them.
They selling their shit.
Well, not only that, but they're playing down to them, like Sid and the other guy,
Dan Spivey.
Yeah, Dan Spivey are constantly hunched over trying to make them look good.
They're a head up. They're like 3-4 inches
right, and
taller than the
but
Road
they're-
Warriors.
But the Road Warriors are supposed to be these big MFers, like big stature-wise, and they're not that big compared to Sid and them. And Sid and Spivey are hunched over trying to get down to their level, and the work suffers because of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes you got to do King Kong versus Godzilla, you know, but it might not look as pretty as some of the other possibilities you could
right.
do.
I just think it didn't work because those dudes are like
Yeah,
trying to get to their level, but they're supposed to be huge.
right. Why not match them up with somebody who could sell for both of those two teams a little more, and you probably would have had two better matches. But
Right.
I enjoyed this for the atmosphere of it.
Well, that's a good point. That's why they would used to work the Road Warriors with the Midnight Express,
Perfect.
the freaking Rock and Roll Express, freaking the Fantastics, stuff like that.
But
you know what I
even if
mean?
you
They'd
were-
be the heels of not the Midnight Express. They will be heels, but the Rock and Roll and the Fantastics, they can fight from underneath against these big guys. You know what I mean? And make them look good.
Right.
Right, and not only that, but even if you fought somebody against somebody like Dr. Death, who's just as big and wide as them, muscle-wise,
and same
but not
height.
as tall.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I enjoyed the match for what it was, but it's not a 5-star classic. It's a bunch of Goliaths going at it.
Dude, it's
cool.
a Japanese strong match.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
That's a Japanese main event.
I hated
in
the
the
finish.
dome.
The finish absolutely sucked. The
I don't
finish.
know if anybody else noticed.
I like the helicopter spot too. That's fucking that center spot he does.
Yeah.
One person has done that to me. I can't remember who it was, but I was like, eh.
Yeah, you didn't like that
I don't know
one?
if anybody else caught this, but Sid Vicious throws a horrifying clothesline, like a clothesline miss. He was throwing this shit like,
Oh no! Well, there was
He was
one that was a
throwing, like-
hitch. I got that down here. There was a hitch
threw
and a clothesline
he
spot.
threw a couple of them that were like,
Yeah, but the
like
one
a
the
windmill.
one that he threw high, it was supposed he was expecting it from the other guy.
Maybe,
Or something. Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
But
there
there
was-
was a couple of them where I was like,
Because,
Jesus.
dude, this shit isn't like worked out spot by spot by spot by spot. You got guys that ain't great workers in there, all of them. You know what I mean? That are trying to get over. If you think about it, both of the Road Warriors are better than either of the other two
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
they spot with all those little guys all day.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, it
And
was.
that's, sorry.
No,
I
no,
didn't
go
cut
ahead.
you off, but I thought that's also why it made it a little bit hitchy, is because the Road Warriors are so used to working with the smaller guys, being quote unquote the bigger guys, and now they're working with bigger guys and supposed to still work bigger.
Yeah.
It's hard for you to still work bigger when you're shorter than
Yeah,
the
and,
two other
and
big guys.
Spivey's not an American wrestler. Spivey's a Japanese wrestler, dude. He spent his whole career there.
Yeah, makes more sense. Finish sucked with the key, and they kind of got the key back and drove him out of the ring afterwards. I still like this match for what it was. I'm going to go 2 stars. Ollie?
1.
I don't know. I'll give this one a 3, but the one thing I want to say is that I liked it that there wasn't a lot of screw job finishes. You know what I mean? In this, there wasn't later on they got to in when I was there, fucking every match is a screw job finish. You know what I mean? At least there was some clean finishes here. So.
This was a DQ, though. It's not a clean finish.
Well, I know, but that's what reminded me of my note
Oh, okay.
that a lot of them are clean finishes.
Okay, so, not tons of interference. And when you get to the finish, it just gets there. There's not a lot of, falses and stuff either on the show. That's one thing I noticed.
There's like no falses.
There's no falses. This is a different business back
And no
then.
falses and 97 backdrops.
Lot
There's-
of backdrops.
Oh my God! Nobody even does a backdrop. Dude, the backdrop might be the most. The backdrop and the headlock might be the most lost art of professional wrestling. That, if you think about it,
I love them both. I love a good
I know, but
backdrop.
nobody does a freaking backdrop anymore.
Well, they do in AJ Styles matches because he's got the best backdrop bump in the business. AJ always he gets air on his, man.
But dude, those guys do 200 straight spots, and there's not one backdrop in them all.
Yeah,
You just don't see them.
it's a lost art. Ty, what do you give it?
I'll give it a 1. It didn't really do anything for me. I didn't.
Yeah.
It was,
I loved it just because it was you
Me
got
too,
these
it's Goliaths,
beast
man.
fucking men out.
Yeah.
And they're all bigger than me, so I appreciate that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, Hack's in the front row, 12 beers deep, and he's like, I could never do this when seeing these guys.
Oh, and high as shit in the rooms. I might even brought a bong in their rooms.
Bong master.
Yeah, you could, man. Back in them days, there's no security.
Roots
Should have walked in with a rifle. Literally.
Roots
Literally.
No, I believe it. I know.
Brooks came in and saw us watching the match, and he was like, "Oh yeah, me, Hack were there." He said Oliver, and Oliver had, whoever he was with there, and B, and
Oh, is that right?
that's what Rube said.
Yeah.
He said that you were all there, and B ended up bitch slapping the guy that she was with and beat him up or something like that. B is Hack's sister, but
That's fucking great. All right, Rubes, we got to get him on for that.
Okay. Rubes. Up next was the main event. This is the Thunderdome. Sting and Ric Flair taking on Terry Funk.
Unofficially, maybe the first Hell in a Cell match.
Kind of. I mean, it's not
It's
totally
the way the cage was kind of like
lowered.
that.
It kind of was, and
Halloween
it was.
Havoc, Hell in a Cell.
I mean, and it like okay, you got Muda and Terry Funk here. Muda is coming in '89 and just lights the world on fire down in the NWA, and he's something absolutely different. Hack, do you remember the first time you saw the Great Muda wrestle?
Yeah, on tape.
Like what? Were you just like,
I
what
think
is
I
this?
was in Japan in '95 when I told you I stayed for the
you
guy.
saw him here in
literally wa-
'89.
you
You
saw
watched
him
him
here in
live in
89.
'89. So you saw him before then.
Oh, yeah.
You
All
probably
right.
saw him on TV.
I
Back
told
in
you.
the day.
No, I remember him blowing the shit out, but that was it.
Okay.
Dude, he was like the most nondescript person in the whole match.
Well, his entrance had a ton of aura, man.
Yeah, I
walking
know,
out,
but the match, he did nothing.
he
No,
didn't
but
really.
so you didn't really know of him
No.
before then?
Okay. Terry Funk in this match. This might be the greatest shape I've ever seen Terry Funk in.
Dude, I said that in the beginning.
He looked
when
like
I-
Jay White.
When
mean,
I
he's-
looked at him, and I'm like, I'm not used to seeing Terry like as a younger guy, and I always forget how big of a guy he really
Yeah.
is, like tall wise, and he was fucking jacked out of
he
his
was
mind.
jacked. Was he having some acting role at this point, Hack? Or like Terry was in amazing
I
shape.
don't know.
here.
That
Was he-
Roadhouse?
was this Roadhouse?
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Roadhouse?
Find out what Roadhouse came out. Howie.
Roadhouse, yeah.
But no, it can't be because he was thick for Roadhouse.
Yes, he was.
His
He's
face
leaner
was
here.
thick.
He's leaner
Yeah,
in this.
that thickness in Roadhouse was the way he would work with his brother
1989, Roadhouse came out. So
in,
this
Wow.
was the
in
time.
Japan.
This was the
So he was
time.
probably coming off the cycle by that point.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, right
Came
around
out
there.
in
Well, if it came out in '89, they were probably shooting for a year and a half before that.
So it's probably
That's what I'm
like
saying.
yeah.
So he was coming
Probably-
off of it, but still
Right.
in good shape.
probably started production the year before.
yeah,
at
but
least.
him and his even Dory was bigger when they were doing tags like with the Inoki and shit like that. Dory was like thick.
Yeah, I mean, this is a different. I've never seen him as leaned out as this. Like, he's pretty chiseled at this point in time. You also have young Sting at this point in 1989. Sting is awesome as a babyface,
Shout
man.
out to the Rat Tail,
All right,
baby.
so
I had that.
the original Roadhouse film was released on May 19th, 89.
Okay,
So this
earlier
was
this
a
year.
couple months after.
Yeah.
Well, he probably had a red carpet event with that, so he was carrying off that shizzle.
Well, he also had the big run in 1989 working Flair on top. He does the famous angle at the Wrestle War show where Flair wrestles Steamboat for the third match in their trilogy, and Funk's one of the judges there, and then lays out Flair afterwards, and then they end up having a long feud in the NWA that year, and this was part of that as well in the match. So you got the Thunderdome cage here. You got Bruno Sammartino as the referee. Hack, you mentioned this earlier, and this is something you've always preached to me, is the importance of the referee in the match and staying out of the action while also being involved in it. Bruno's not a referee. Obviously, a couple times I could see it where he wasn't nowhere to go.
Okay. All right. First, I got to put Nick. I can't believe I missed this on the first match. Nick Patrick was the ref for all the matches that he needed to be.
At least 4 of them.
Yeah. And now, did you ever notice the one guy would actually sat down and he went down and counted 1, 2, and he knew there was going to be a couple false finishes after that. I can't remember the match. He never got up on his feet. He literally sat on the mat on his ass. They did one. He like reached over 1, 2, kick out. Didn't get up to his feet. Stayed there on his ass. He knew another finish was coming. But either Nick Patrick. What was the question?
Question was about Bruno's work as a referee in this match.
Oh, yeah, just stay out of the way. I mean, I'd be lost in this match, and he was lost in this match. You know what I mean?
It's a tough match.
And then,
I was lost in this match.
Yeah.
He had a trouble time staying out of the way, especially the spot where Sting had Muda up in the press. Terry came out from the corner, and then he threw it, and it looked like he hit both Terry and Bruno in the corner because Bruno didn't get out of the way. I mean, he clearly didn't really have any clue what the hell he was doing in the match.
Yeah. I don't think anybody in this match really knew what they were doing. At the start of it, when the dome gets lowered down, Hack.
For about 15 minutes it took to lower.
Yeah.
Fast forward.
But the thing catches on fire. They get some Halloween decorations up there.
No, it was a burlap sack.
Okay, it was a burlap sack.
It was a burlap sack.
Shoot fire.
It catches on shoot fire.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Terry Funk's like wedging himself between the cage and the ring. I don't know why.
Well, he's measuring. He's killing time. He's Terry Funk.
Yeah.
He's a wild man.
Yeah, no.
He ain't just gonna stand there and like watch a fire.
Then-
He's gonna be like, watch me over here.
I
then
thought he was going to rip the whole cage down the way he was shaking it. Literally, the thing was like...
That's great
The
shit.
whole thing was like moving. I was
That's
like,
Terry
Jesus Christ.
Funk, that crazy motherfucker.
Muta puts the fire out with his mist, which I thought was awesome. That was so cool. But the match itself was just, I mean, it was tough. You have limited... everything about this cage was kind of limiting. It wasn't one of those cages where you could like throw guys off of it. It seemed like it was a harder surface.
Yeah, and it's got big gaps in between it too, so it's like harder to just throw somebody into it.
Muta
and
probably
be-
could have fucking
being
escaped through it
safe.
if he wanted.
Yes.
Sting
yeah.
did
Like
pretty
shoulder
much.
wise.
Sting was halfway out, and I think he could have got all the way out. They had that weird like rope swing thing too.
I kind of like that. It didn't come across. So, and then Sting near the end where he jumped off of it. Instead, what's his name was expecting him to swing at him.
Yes.
But Sting jumped the whole way, and he came up short. Like, he could have fucking fucked up his legs.
Yeah. But it was still cool kind of in certain spots because of all the talent involved in this. And Gary Hart, Hack, what a tremendous manager he was. Gary Hart, again, somebody who had a presence to them, and the way he would speak, he had a real, just like awesome delivery. He wasn't a yeller. He was more of just like a put it to
Yeah,
you
he
kind
wasn't
of.
yelling at all.
You know what I mean?
Muta and Funk's manager?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gary Hart was a world-class championship wrestling manager and genius in the business and everything. Really awesome. I love Gary Hart, and I thought, he wasn't great. There was not really a great performance for him to have in this match.
Great towel throw.
The towel throw finish. So
Oh, dude, are you kidding
Like,
me?
that couldn't have been an any more perfect towel throw, I think.
this match's rules are basically there's a terminator for both teams, and when the match is over, the one guy has to throw in the towel. So you have Ole Anderson representing Flair and Sting, and you have Gary Hart representing Terry Funk and Great Muta. It ends up where Gary Hart gets in the ring after Bruno Sammartino knocks out Muta with a punch with a right hand. Pretty good punch by Bruno. And then Muta takes like a weird bump outside the ring.
And Sting's like trying to throw the splash on Funk a couple times, and Bruno's just in the way.
In the way. of the spot.
Totally.
Yeah.
God damn, kid, get out the way.
Like, just totally in the way. Like, not. He was just out.
Yeah, but Terry's smart enough not to push him aside and make it look fucking stupid. You know what I mean? He'll like spin around, sell back over
Well, I think
here.
a couple times Terry was like talking to him, trying to like gimmick with him and like fuck with him, being like, "Yo, like
Yeah,
get me out of the ring," or like I'm in the mat, like get me out. He was trying to talk to him, and Bruno's like, yeah.
It was a strange match because you're no near falls in this match whatsoever. You can't do near falls because of the towel throw in.
Yeah,
so
don't mean anything.
the psychology was just like, it's just a bit of a brawl kind of thing. The finishes then.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, well, why was fucking Muta the only person to sell the fucking the electrified cage?
No idea. So you have this electrified cage gimmick.
Okay, so I thought that was the only one. I thought they were talking about an electrified cage, and then before the match even starts, Funk climbs the cage, and I'm like, okay, well, I must have missed.
Well, that's why the announcer said, it's electrified higher up.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah,
And I
he's
was
like,
like,
oh,
okay.
he covered it.
And then the fire happened, and I'm like, okay, so they're still playing it off as an electrified cage, but they
I guess-
still keep doing spots to it. And I'm like, I must have misheard them.
I guess the
because-
idea is like it's electrified. They know to not go up there because what's going to happen. But then they kind of did go up there anyway, even though it wasn't an
All
escape
right,
cage.
so I wasn't okay.
Okay.
So I didn't mishear that.
All right, just saying I didn't post this yet, but I'm going to show everybody right now why the cage was not electrified up top. Look at that. What do you see hanging there? By Flair's ass.
An unplugged cord.
No.
So
No
that-
way.
I fucking had to rewind it like 3 times to get it there. That's why it wasn't electrified up top.
Wait, did they bungle this? Is what you're saying? They forgot to plug it in. Did Hack break
the funniest thing
Did Hack break the code on the Thunderdome cage? Why they didn't have electrocution
I couldn't
stuff?
believe I saw that.
For all you people that have been wondering for so long why 1989 main event
It's not plugged
cage
in.
isn't electrified.
Wow, that's WCW for you, I guess.
Oh, and then also I got another one. The shit, something happened with Funky. Did you see that white thing hanging out his nose?
Yeah, he had like a huge booger or something.
I
don't know
thought it
what
was
that
like a Mick Foley when Mick Foley had
the old
Skyrocket.
skyrocket.
Fuck, you are good. All right, I think this is a work because they tried to tell me that was Nick Foley's tooth, and I'm like, no, he's got no abrasions. He's got no abrasions on. I think that was something that Funk gave to Mick, and Mick used it in the Hell in the Cell when he got thrown off, and supposedly his tooth's coming out his nose.
Yes.
That's exactly what I saw. Right
I think
there.
it was a snot rocket, like a snot
Dude,
strand.
it was a solid white, like little horn.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
It was a solid. I rolled it back a
and
couple times, just like I did when I watched Hell in a Cell.
And the very first thing that I thought of was the Mick Foley
Right.
coming out of his nose. Was the
I got
very
a
first
big
thing I
note
saw.
here to talk
All
about
right,
that.
so you truthers out there, get out your tapes, get out the Peacock Network. We want to break down this snot
Yeah, all
rocket.
you dentists.
Yeah, all you dentists. We want to hear from
Dr. Yankum.
Yeah, Dr. Yankum. We want to hear from you.
All right, and my last thing is, what's his name said as soon as Muda grabbed the thing, he made me a fried wonton.
Oh, JR said that. Yeah, JR said that.
JR was
I'm
on
like,
point
did
this
you
whole
just-
show, dude.
JR said
Really say that?
1989. It's a little different time.
I love it.
But it was a little different time.
JR was
back
on
then.
point this entire
JR
show. I
was-
cracked up a couple times.
Young JR was such
God.
a tremendous broadcaster and such a great announcer. At the background, like we said earlier, on the guys that he was giving, and the way you break down the matches, it had like a real sports feel to it. Like JR could have easily done real sports
NFL,
broadcasting. Yeah,
if he wanted to.
Like he was legitimately a great announcer. Period. The finish of this, Gary Hart gets in the ring after Bruno punches out Muda. And then Ole Anderson comes in there, lays out Gary Hart, and like you said, Ty, the best towel throw ever. Gary Hart like throws up his arm, and the towel flies out, and it lands on Bruno's
I don't
shoulder.
even know if Bruno would have got there if it didn't land on his fucking shoulder the way Bruno was so spaced out in this.
If he landed differently, he might have not known and would have been looking
That's
around.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Imagine that.
It was like better than Mr. Perfect with a towel throw.
Yeah, right,
It was
that's what I'm
seriously
saying.
amazing. It was amazing.
That's why it was such a perfect towel throw. It almost he had no choice but to know the finish.
Great
That's
finish. Great
freaking
finish.
hilarious. Yeah, they're like throwing it in his face. Dude. He'll get it, Dad. This
Right.
clueless butts.
Right.
Great timing. Look. The match was a little weird because of the gimmick and everything, but the performers in there are all awesome.
It was hitchy. But a couple of the best spots. Funk hanging upside down from the cage.
Oh, he set himself right up there.
And you guys remember when I did that in the cage
Yes,
in one
we
of the
just reviewed
cage
it recently.
matches? I learned it there probably.
Wow.
I didn't realize it until I was watching Funk do it. I'm like, oh, dude, I did the same freaking thing. So I probably got that spot from him there.
That's so cool.
Which made me feel good.
I enjoyed this match, even though it wasn't great or anything. I'm going to go 3 stars for it. Ollie?
I'm going 2.5 just because of the guys that are in it, but I was freaking lost like the entire time. But I mean, I was still entertained because I mean, you know, it's Funk, it's Flair, so 2.5.
Okay. Hack?
Yeah, it gets like a 4.9 for me because it's really the start of a lot right there. You know what I mean? It's like the groundbreaking show. How many more did they have? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like it was like the precursor to maybe the Hell in the Cell and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So shit gets done over again and again and again, and they just make it better each time.
Ty?
I gotta give it a 2. Just the people that are in the match, I expected it to be a little bit more cohesive. It was just a super clusterfuck, and I know it's like the first of its kind and the first of its, but those I expected a little bit more out of 3.5 great workers. I mean,
Oh, there's 4 great workers in that match, man.
Was there?
Yeah, Muda, Funk, Flair, Sting is a great worker too.
Sting, I'll give him a half.
Heck, you were painted as his face. You're gonna say he's a great worker.
I didn't say he wasn't over. I didn't say he wasn't over. I didn't say he wasn't over. But as far as like a great worker at that point,
definitely not.
At that point, he wasn't a great worker. But Funk, Flair, and Muta were.
Absolutely.
So that's why I said 3.5 great workers. I expected a little bit more cohesion in the match for me.
Yeah. Overall, though, guys, what'd you think of the show? I enjoyed this one. It's a fun card. Halloween Havoc is. I love the fact they're still doing Halloween Havocs too. NXT just had one this past weekend. It's a great pay-per-view name in general.
Yeah, it is. Probably one of the better ones.
Halloween Havoc should be a pay-per-view name going forward forever. Like, it's an awesome pay-per-view concept. I like it, and this was a fun show to me. Being in Philly, a lot of the crowd reactions, and a lot of the stars on this card, seeing where they go later in their careers and what happens to them. I really like this show a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, for the time period of what I'm watching, I mean, it's obviously before my time, but for what it was, I thought it was a good show.
Hack?
Dude, I was there, and it was like when I was watching it, it was like watching it for the first time. You know what I mean? Like I told you, there's been plenty of matches that I would say I was never even in. You know what I mean? So yes, it was a great like storybook of my like brain to get me
trying to piece it all together.
Yeah, like and remembering like this is what I loved so much, and that's why I'm here today.
Yeah.
I thought it was entertaining for sure, considering it's a 1989 show, and just like you said, to see the workers in it that are now, you know, Road Warriors, Sid, Flair. I mean, even Shane. Like, I don't remember seeing Shane as the dude part of the
I don't remember there either.
You know what I'm saying? And all that stuff, and it being my first. I wish I was there. You know, I wish my dad would have took me. You know,
Guys with the 1 month old out of the Halloween Havoc show.
I wish he would have painted my face like Sting, but I understand. You know, I've been disappointed a lot by him one day. That's why I went the other side for a little bit. But but ultimately, you know, the show was actually pretty entertaining for what it's worth.
Yeah, well, this Halloween special for you guys. We are recording this on Halloween night. I know, Ali, you had your kids out earlier. You were trick-or-treating. Any good candy you guys got?
I mean, you know, just the usual stuff.
Tell them about trash.
I'm always picking through the bag, you know. Trying to see what I can find.
What did your ones...
Ash is always... He's running around...
But we call him trash.
Fucking beating up all the the Halloween blow-up decorations on everybody's yard.
Say that kid's not scared of anything, and he's the 2.5-year-old. He's the boss when it comes to running this shit. Listen,
he'll be the next Gilbert Brown.
Yeah, he's a pig.
This little guy.
Coming up on the show next week, we are going to be reviewing WWE's Crown Jewel, big show that they got coming up. So that's what we are going to be going over next week. As always, send in listener questions to SandmanPod.
We must have a lot to get to.
We do have a bunch of listener questions, but we'll try to get to them. Guys, if you send us in a question, I promise you we're going to get them on the air as soon as possible, but we do try to keep the show.
No, we're running through them right now.
We'll get to all of them that we can here, Hack. Don't worry here, man. First up on the show is... Just a second.
So many you can't even find them. He didn't leave us a town.
I'm glad you said it, Ty.
He didn't leave us a town here. First up, Shaman Grigsby writes in, did not leave us a town, so we don't know. So, Sandman, 2 questions. What was your relationship like with Mr. McMahon?
Didn't have one.
Didn't have one?
No, I didn't have one.
Okay.
I told you guys, I've only talked to him a couple times.
There you go. Didn't have one. And is there a possibility that we will see you return to WWE for a Royal Rumble appearance?
I'm begging.
Okay, he's begging.
Yeah, that could be great.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, to get in the ring and get thrown over the rope in 5 seconds.
Yeah, to get
bushwhacked. Dude, I would try and be the fastest ever.
I know you've mentioned this before.
I was pissed because I was literally in there for less than 10 seconds. The one Rumble that I was in, I got back, and I remember Charmel and
Booker.
And Booker were sitting there watching it because I guess he was going out. Oh no, I thought he eliminated me in that one. I don't know, whatever, but I want to be like the Bushwhackers, in one side, out the other side. I don't even care if I hit somebody with a cape.
There you go. Up next.
All pays the same.
Up next. Uncle Howard writes in.
Howard, what's your bill?
No, that's Drummy.
Oh, Jeremy.
This is Uncle Howard. Uncle
Big
Howard.
surprise, I don't know.
Hola, muchachos. Been a while since I rapped at you. Hack.
Oh, God.
Buenas noches.
Hack. Scientists now know that many dinosaurs were feathered like birds. A lot of people are mad about that, but I think it makes them even cooler. How do you feel about it, and what's everyone's favorite
All right,
dinosaur?
first of all, let me tell you what I know about dinosaurs. They were all feathered. Most of them were not freaking anything but feathers. The closest thing that we have to a Tyrannosaurus Rex right now is what?
It's a chicken.
DNA-wise. A chicken.
Wow, I
probably
did not
told
know that.
Ollie that.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, the Tyrannosaurus Rex had feathers.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it just goes to show you we really don't know shit about the evolutionary process of what's going on in this earth and how long humans have really actually been here, or some form of a human.
I kind of miss the old classical dinosaurs of the lizard types, and I don't like this new feathered dinosaur though, personally.
Yeah, I mean, you would get why they would push the whole not feather and giant lizard thing, because obviously that's cooler and scarier.
But it's not true. We know it's not true.
Yeah, but dude, could you imagine a fucking 30-foot tall chicken?
It's actually terrifying.
I'm like, no, dude, don't lay an egg on me.
It's actually terrifying. Where you put that?
Yeah, be a little bit bigger than.
Anybody have favorite dinosaur? I like a Stegosaurus.
The raptor.
He's the one with the shit on his back, right?
The
leads?
raptor
Yeah.
is always my favorite.
Is the
All right,
raptor
so-
even a real dinosaur or not?
Probably not.
I don't even know
No,
if
the
that's
raptors were real. Listen to
Were
me.
they?
The Stegosaurus, you know those things on his back? That's how they would control the heat in their body.
okay.
Was those like they look like the Ace of Spades things that
Yeah.
were on their back? That's how they would control their heat in their body.
Wow, that's interesting.
Just shit that I know.
Okay, yeah, the shit that you know.
And raptors were totally real.
Okay, they were totally real. I didn't know if they were. I don't know if they were real one or not. I'm not sure. Up next, Bob from Broomall writes in.
All right, Bobby.
Thanks, Hack and friends. My favorite weekly listen. I don't know if this is an easy enough question or maybe needs an episode dedicated to it, but what are some?
Oh wow, you're already putting yourself over here,
Yeah,
Bobby.
Bobby put himself over here a little bit. But what are some of your guys' favorite gimmick or stipulation matches? Are there any matches that haven't been done on TV yet that live in your brain that you would love to see
That's
in
an
a ring?
episode.
Are there any modern day matches?
Like a douche on a pole match or something
Dude,
like that.
what are you, Vince Russo over here? Douche on a
what I'm
pole.
saying.
How are we going to put you on a pole?
Wow.
Damn. Are there any modern day match types that you really enjoy? The ECW style three-way dance with elimination matches was always my favorite. There was nothing more exciting than seeing the champion get knocked out at first and knowing you were really getting a new champion that night. As far as new match types, I really enjoy the Iron Survivor gimmick in NXT. It's been well executed twice now, and every casino gauntlet in AEW has been really exciting. Sorry for the long-winded question. I've been whacking the pen hard tonight. Go
You've
Dodgers.
been whacking something more than the pen tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
I would do an episode on it.
yeah, I think it's a great idea. Just gimmick matches. And
Oh
talking
yeah, I
about
want a
stuff.
chainsaw match.
A chainsaw match.
I
Whoa.
do love the elimination tag or the elimination three-way dance. I do love that aspect of it.
It's a wrinkle.
Like, yeah, for sure. Like, if three-way... I get both sides of it, but I do like the elimination more. I do wish that... War Games was elimination. Like the 4-on-4 when they come in, it's like, however many minutes, and
It
then the
doesn't
next guy
start.
comes in.
It doesn't start until all of them are in there. You're saying have eliminations throughout.
I wish that was kind of like elimination style, because if you're having a War Games match like 4-on-4, I think that would be more entertaining.
Well, there's a lull on the drama until they all get in there, right? Like nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, it's like nothing's happening.
I mean,
Right,
besides the crazy
Yeah, it's
brawl.
like the match can't end right now. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
so
So it's
I'm
just
not
how
invested.
crazy are we getting?
Right.
But I wish, like, maybe if it was like 2-on-1, you eliminate one and there's two, and then you're waiting on the other guy. Or everybody starts out.
I like that little twist.
It's something interesting. Yeah, I
or
like that.
everybody starts out and then it's elimination
At that point.
at that point.
I think it's a little too clogged if you have that starting out like that the whole time. But I know what you're saying.
But
You
is
get
it
less.
really? I mean, you got 2 rings, you got 2 cages. I mean, it's 4-on-4 rings.
It's really the same.
Yeah, no,
it's
I think
really,
you could do it,
It's
then.
really the same that, like, in the way you're thinking of it, of being clogged, just in reverse.
It's instead of being at the end clogged,
Yeah.
it's clogged at the beginning.
Exactly.
And then you
Right,
get
and
down
then
to
you
something
just start.
small.
I feel like that's better because
I feel like it is better too, actually, now that you're saying it.
you're eliminating teammate. Like there's a
There's a
And
lot
that-
of ways
and
you can
there's
go.
more of an essence of surprise in that.
Yeah,
aspect.
that way the
Like,
finish might be a little bit more suspenseful if guys are getting eliminated throughout the match versus getting added.
And especially when you get down to that 2-on-1.
3-on-1, 4-on, whatever.
That heat right there for that comeback
Right.
could be great, potentially. So that's an interesting question, Bob. We're going to have to think about that one. Up next on the show.
That's a good fucking show for us and the guys to do down in the city.
Yeah, that's something to consider, yeah. Up next.
Listen to him just blown off. Yeah, that's something to
I'm
consider.
not. I'm saying it's something to consider. I'm just trying to get through these questions here.
Yeah, you
I
can
know
do-
you
yeah,
are.
You could do it a lot of different ways.
Yeah, you can go a lot of different ways with it. You still bust my balls about that. Up next is Pat, writing in from Ventura, California.
Hi,
Ventura!
Alright, is it Pat from
Leominster, Massachusetts.
Alright.
At a six,
Good job, Ty.
at a 6 feet tall, 180 pounds, it's Pat. What's up, guys? Love the latest
I
episode.
love how you say 6 feet 180.
Yeah, he's putting himself over. Love the latest episode with the big boss.
No, it's a Simon thing.
I know what it is. With the big boss Joey Janela. You guys keep delivering without even trying. Non-wrestling related question for Hack. Get that cough out there.
That Pendo.
Love
Yeah,
the pendant.
he's been hitting that pen stick all show. Question for Hack. What does Hack and Company do for Halloween tradition? What are some of Hack's favorite horror movies? Does Hack decorate? And what was Hack dressed up for in his younger years or currently if he went trick-or-treating with the grandkids?
Last thing I dressed up is in 3rd grade, I was a girl. That was, I think, my last. Oh no, I was a baby. In like
That hasn't changed.
no, I went to a Halloween thing. I won best costume. I had a diaper and a big freaking pacifier on my neck, and it was cold out, dude. That was like 85 or 86.
No, did he?
Okay. Do you have a favorite candy? Is there a candy that you specifically request or you make sure that you have? Or
I don't
not-
need a lot of candy.
okay, you're not a candy guy. No.
All that shit, it kills you, dude. It's got so many extra added sugars.
Yeah. Okay. Not
Yeah,
a big
all those
candy
8
guy.
balls of Coke don't kill you, though.
Not doing them anymore.
Fuck Hershey's. I'm doing the 8 ball.
The way he said that too. Not doing that anymore.
The last time I snorted an 8 ball a day probably had to be like 2004 or 5.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad to hear that you're.
And I
not
probably
doing that.
snorted like 4 or 5 80s that day too.
Yeah, I passed up on the Hershey's and went
Yeah.
for the 8 ball.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah. Up next, new listener here, guys. I
love new listeners.
I shouted him out on the show last week, so he wrote in. Chris from. Chris Scanapiecco. He did not leave a town, so that's a
You
violation
gotta
right
give
there.
us a town.
You gotta give us a
Shout
town.
it out right in. Come on.
First of all, I want to take a moment to say how proud I am of Brian Tosh and the amazing work he's done with this podcast.
Oh my God, this is you!
I am down
Oh
writing
my
this question
God,
in.
Chris is Tosh.
Yes, it's incredible. It's incredible to see him dive
Who
into
would
something.
put you over?
Chris Scanapiecco would.
Besides Todd Gore.
Yeah.
Wait, you know where he's from? Did you just say Chris from Tampa?
No, Chris
Chris-
Scanapiecco.
Oh, okay.
He didn't know how to pronounce Tom or whatever with an
I
H
did.
like 3 weeks ago.
I
But he
did
goes
bust
Scanapiecca.
I know this guy.
Todd
That's why-
Gordon loves you, though. I told you
Yeah,
that.
Todd puts me over.
Todd thinks you're awesome.
Todd's the man. He knows what's what. He's a smart guy in the business. It's incredible to see him dive into something he's passionate about, bring about so many memories and stories back to life. He's giving wrestling fans like me a place to reconnect with a part of our lives that meant so much. Brian and I went to school together and graduated in the same class. That's a shoot.
Oh, Brian is the meanie?
No, he's saying me. Brian, me. My
Your
shoot.
name's Brian?
My shoot first name.
My shoot first name.
Dude, I had no idea your name was Brian.
Yes, I say it every week. You know my. don't know my name.
Their name was Tosh.
Do you shoot not know my
Tosh was
name?
his first name?
My name is literally
like it's short
on.
for Tosh.
My name is literally on the front.
Short for
Hold on a
Tosh.
second. Let's stop right here. Hold on a second. Let's stop right here, Hack. Hold on a second.
I thought it was a Jewish thing.
No, I'm not Jewish. I'm Catholic. Hold on a second.
Must be the hair. Must be the hair.
I was going to pull out the Jew fro, but I
Oh,
went,
man.
he doesn't have one.
All right.
Wait, you can't be Jewish with that head of hair
I'm
you
not.
flashed
I'm
last
Catholic.
week.
All right.
My bad. I apologize to all you Jewish people that he's not part of, but he's got a great head of hair.
L'chaim.
And you guys all wish you probably have one.
Yeah, a lot of weight off your shoulders.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
All right, I'll get back to this guy's email here. I used to ride my bike down to 7-Eleven on 69th Street just to flip through the wrestling magazines and see the
Oh,
pictures.
that's freaking great. I love this dude now.
And see the pictures from the latest pay-per-view events. It was the closest I get to experiencing the action back then, even though I was on the outside looking in. It sparked a passion in me that never went away. When my family moved to Broomall, everything changed. I met some fellow wrestling fans, and one of them even invited me to his house to watch the Royal Rumble. I couldn't believe it. I was finally getting to see a pay-per-view wrestling event live. Sitting there watching the action unfold in real time, it felt surreal. It was like a dream came true for the wrestling-crazed kid who always felt left out. And then there were the ECW days. Back when ECW was on cable, I would sneak into my parents' room to watch it on their TV, completely transfixed by the wild, unrestrained action that ECW brought. I'd never seen anything like it. My friend's dad got into the excitement too. He would actually take us to the ECW arena. I'll never forget the atmosphere there. It was raw, loud, electric, a total departure from anything mainstream. Hold on, Hack. I'm trying to finish this here. Seeing those hardcore matches live was both terrifying and thrilling. It was an experience you couldn't find anywhere else. Now here we go. This is the crux of his email here.
Oh, wait, that wasn't the crux?
No, that wasn't the crux yet. Here it is. It's a little long-winded.
Hi, Jerry from Broomall. You're one of us.
One story that stands out is about the Sandman. I had bought the very first ECW video game, and there was this rumor going around that the Sandman lived in Lawrence Park, just a couple of streets over from where we lived. My best friend, Ponyboy, and I got in our heads to go find him and ask for an autograph.
Pony Boy, what is he, from the outside?
Apparently, we brought the game with us, found the house, and knocked on his door. And there he was, with a cigarette dangling from his mouth. I asked if he would sign the cover of the game, and he looked at us and said, "You got $20?" Without hesitation, I pulled out my wallet and gladly handed him the cash. He signed it right there. It was worth every penny. Thanks again to everyone involved in the Sandman podcast. You guys are keeping the spirit of wrestling alive with the podcast. It means the world to all of us fans. Chris. Hack, you really charged this kid $20 for an autograph when he knocked on your door?
Dude, it is what it is.
Always working.
Least shocking thing ever, but Chris, thank you for your story. Appreciate you listening. Yeah, Hack. I don't know.
Yeah, you charge him $20. I mean, you're always working to the end.
Hey, dude, I had kids to put through college at that point.
Yeah.
Dude, it was like 100 years ago.
Yeah, it was 100 years ago, Chris. Don't be salty about that 20.
I'm still not paying student loans.
I don't think he was salty. He said he gladly gave up the $20.
No, he was. I'm just kidding around. He's a friend. Up next, Doug, the professor from Orangeburg, South Carolina.
Please tell me about Armenia, Doug, or we're going to cancel your shit.
Oh, hacking the fellas. So I held off last week from responding because you had an in-studio guest and thought I would give you all a little break. In the words of Conan, let the professor speak on this. Basically, Hack, to follow up on your question about what the French were doing in Vietnam, it largely had to do with trade routes. But in 1954, at the Battle of... I can't pronounce this. Dien Bien Phu? The Vietnamese scored what some people would have called an upset win over the French army, and they left. Essentially, the French are pussies who have never won a major military engagement, to my knowledge. One more reference to colonialism, then I promise to stop. The movie Apocalypse Now, which you have probably seen, is based on Joseph Conrad's 1901 novel, Heart of Darkness, which is about the ivory trade going on in the Belgian. Another colonial player.
Which is killing how many rhinos? That's what. Wait, rhinos might actually be fucking extinct in the next year or so.
Wow.
That's what that trade's doing.
It involves another colonial player, Congo. The movie, though, takes place in Vietnam with Marlon Brando as the insane Kurtz, who ends the movie with the line, "The horror, the horror." This was also spoofed by Seinfeld's Jay Peterman. This guy's amazing. At any rate, the movie features one of my favorite lines that some wrestlers should have uttered at some point when Robert Duvall says, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning." Hopefully that puts a bow on this portion.
That is a great line.
Hopefully that puts a bow on this portion of History Corner, even though I think the movie Apocalypse Now is horrible, and I don't recommend it if you haven't seen it.
No, you're beat, dude.
Great
Find out
cinematography, though.
about the Turks and the Armenians. Tell me about that.
Doug, you got to get us back about the Turks and the Armenians. That's what we need to hear. Thank you, Doug, for writing us in. Up next, Kevin from Dayton, Ohio writes in, Kevin, Hack, I know that you were at Halloween Havoc 1989. Can you walk us through what your pre-wrestling show regiment would have been back before tailgating?
Dude, it was me and Ruben, a case of beer in the car. We lived in Broomall, probably half-hour ride. I think it was like Saturday. We probably left at like 5 o'clock. But I think that show, I might have... All right, so Ruben used to have this like case. We were leaving rugby practice one day or something like that. And one of our boys, I forget his name, saw somebody from the band left like a clarinet freaking like little like case. So we took that, and then Ruben changed the foam in it and had a bong that he put in there, and then he would have a place for his bottle of water, have a place for his lighter, and then we were on our way to the show, I think, right there. Dude, we're not 3 minutes out of Ruben's house, and I break the bong in the car. But I mean, dude, it was like crazy. So we just rolled joints.
Okay, there you go, Kevin. They were probably enjoying a nice tailgate
Yeah,
there.
but back there wasn't any like Coke or like anything like that back in those days yet.
Yeah. All right, guys. As always, send us in questions to sandmanpod@gmail.com. Next week, we are reviewing WWE's Crown Jewel.
Oh, no. Yeah, there was Coke back then.
But before we go, Hack, the cane of the week or the toast of the week?
All right, you guys are going to love these two. So, the toast of the week is going to go to these parents because, dude, I'm just a family guy. This is what they did with their kid. They told the kid, get in the car, you have a dentist appointment. And they were taking the kid for the dentist appointment. And then next thing you know, they're pulling into the stadium. The kid's like, oh my God, I'm going in the stadium. 13 years old, blonde hair, long blonde hair like me, because it came across my timeline. I saw a picture of it. Guess what the kid does? He ends up with the freaking Grand Slam homer ball of the day. That what's his name hit?
Freeman?
Yeah. So this kid shows up at the stadium thinking he's going to the dentist, and his dad's like, "No, we're good, kid. We're going to the game."
And he's the one who catches the Grand Slam ball?
I don't know.
Or
It might have been bobbled and on the ground
But still
or
gets
whatever.
away with it.
Yeah,
And that kid ended up. That's just cool shit.
Wow, that is cool as
Just,
fuck.
dude, work your kid any chance you get because he'll learn from that. And then the cane of the week's easy as shit. I'm staying with baseball. You guys know what it is.
The Yankees?
Yeah, it's the freaking the two idiots that tried to freaking break Mookie Betts' arm.
Oh my God.
Dude, that's the cane of the week easily.
Do you know Gronk's friends? Gronk went to college with the
Did
guy.
Ty tell me that yesterday?
Yeah.
Gronk went to college with the one guy who was grabbing the glove. What douchebags.
Makes a lot of sense.
Could you imagine if those were Philly fans that did that? I mean, we'd never be hearing the end of that.
Listen,
What are those Philly fans doing there at the Yankees game?
Yeah, seriously.
Listen, I'm all for like batting the ball away from a guy like trying to catch it.
Sure.
But the guy's got it in his glove, and then you grab his glove, and the other guy grabs his other arm, and you're like pulling it like.
No, they should have got an assault charge, and they should never be able to go to a game ever for the rest of their lives.
Agreed.
Honestly,
Agreed.
to me.
Absolutely. Well deserved.
Suppose that happened in like a Phillies game, and it was like reversed.
Somebody did that to Bryce Harper.
Suppose it was us and the Yankees. Yeah, Bryce Harper's playing left field, and there are two Yankee fans right there, and they try ripping off his shit. Well, Harper's going into the stands.
Yeah.
Or sprains his wrist, or
Anything. Well, yeah,
Whatever.
that's more like what.
Nah, it was a complete joke. You can't.
Yeah,
be
but
doing
those
that as
dudes are
fans.
freaking morons.
Well deserved. Guys, like, share, review. Check us out next week. And as always, make sure you subscribe and tell a friend.
vote.
Ain't it foggy outside? All the planes have been